game. Variety, topics living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. It is August 29th, 10:02 on the East Coast, and you're watching ASAP in the morning. My name is Craig. I am joined by Pride. Pride, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. I don't know if anyone has told you, you have a professional voice.
Well, thank you.
You have a professional voice. You and Sam need to get together because, man, you guys both. It's incredible. But I'm great to be here. It's nice to meet you, my guy. And let's
I appreciate being part of the morning show and being able to kind of get our show back rolling again. And I really enjoy watching you guys and how you've conducted the morning show and everything. It's been really fun to watch. A lot of fun takes for sure on the show.
Oh, yeah.
So as we get going, you never know who's going to jump in. But before we get rolling on all the topics this week, first and foremost, if you are on the stream, please give a like, a follow, a share. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. And you can find us on Facebook at All Sports All Plays, Twitter at ASAP Network 1, and on YouTube, search ASAP Sports Network. Give us a like, give us a follow. Really appreciate the love. And we love interacting with everybody throughout the show. So drop your comments and we'll have some fun today. So let's get right to it. Let's talk a little college football. Week 0 started this last week. I never understood why they call it week 0 because it's actually a week 1 now with all the games they've got. But usually it's a lot of the cupcake games, maybe some lesser known schools. But one of the big games that we saw was in Ireland. It was Nebraska versus Northwestern. And this game happened in Ireland. Probably the biggest story that came out of this was the fact that the all the fans that were in attendance, the internet was down, could not connect to the internet, so they couldn't use credit cards or debit cards, and the stadium didn't accept cash, so everybody got free beer. And as a college football fan, anytime that you're offered free beer, it's always a good day. Anytime you get that. But I wanted to go over this game, this Nebraska versus Northwestern. And if you were joining in on the show, on the weekly wrap-up show last night with myself and Shane, we talked a little bit about Nebraska and Northwestern and kind of what happened throughout that game. And one thing I don't understand about Nebraska is the fact that they fire Bo Pelini, who hadn't been winning more than 9 games in a season. And they turn around and said, all right, Bo Pelini, you're out. You can't take us where we want to go. So we're going to go and we're going to get Scott Frost. Now, Scott Frost, going into his 5th season, hasn't really been good. He's had maximum 5 wins in a season. So getting off to a slow start, trailing at halftime where they're 3-20 under Frost at the half. But they end up taking not 1, but 2 double-digit leads within the game, and Northwestern still comes back to win the game.
Honestly, if that doesn't cause you to get fired, then at this point, my guy needs to run. And it's insane because that onside kick, I think they were up, correct me if I'm wrong, 11. That, to me, was just like, oh, I'm going to outsmart everyone. Because the logic that he was trying to spit out was, oh, well, if we recover the onside kick, we can now focus on milking the clock because then they need to score. So they need at least a field goal And then they would have the pressure on them to score again, which in theory, I sort of kind of understand. But you're up by 2 scores. You don't necessarily have to do that. Like, to me, it reeked of, I need to prove I'm the smartest guy in the room.
Mm-hmm.
It was a horrible, horrible thing. He even said it. Look, if I could go back in time, I would take it back. What up, Mike, baby?
Hey, man.
But I think it was a stupid move. It was, and I honestly, can I be honest? I think the pressure was getting to him. I was talking to my coworker yesterday, I think it was. Yeah, I was talking to him yesterday about it. And he was like, I think the pressure just got to him. I think it was a situation where he understood, like, man, if I choke this one, I'm really, really, really on the hot seat. And
we're talking about Scott. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about the bozo of the day. Because, man, he need that award, Mike. I'm telling you. But it just gave me vibes of, I want to try to be the smartest guy in the room. I think it's 5-21 in 1-score games.
Mm-hmm.
On top of the 5-20 after leading by halftime. It was the one that you sped out, Craig. But it's horrible. Oh man, it is horrible. And I think now it's a situation where, like you said, they moved on to Scott Frost and thinking, oh yeah, we're gonna be able to be better. And I think they took a step back. Because dare I say, without Scott Frost, I think they're winning a lot of these one-possession games. And if you really look at it, it's not the players that's selling. It's the coaching, because the coaching is putting them in stupid situations. This is just one of the most egregious ones. Like, you kick the onside, you do the onside kick, which is dumb because you give them perfect positioning. So, but I'm not a coach, so I don't know. What do I know, man? What do I know?
Yeah, that stat you mentioned. Scott Frost is 5-20, 5-21 1-score games, and then 3-20 when trailing at the half.
Yeah, that's like, come on, bro. Oh, that's horrible.
That's the inability to make adjustments. I mean, if you're 3-20 at the half, 5-21 in 1-score games, you've shown that you're just like, no, this is the style I want to play, and I really believe we can win, and it's not working, and you're just so stubborn that you're not going to make any adjustments to try to win. And you can throw out any kind of theories that you want, but his success that he had at UCF, he played a certain style. He felt that taking that to Nebraska was still going to be a recipe for success. He does just that, but then I think gets a real rude awakening when Big Ten football, unless you have elite type of athletes, those styles of plays aren't going to work. He tried doing something similar to what Rich Rodriguez was doing at Michigan, having more of a wide open spread type offense. Mm-hmm. And very clearly, without the right elite type of talent, it's not going to work. And I think he just has been failing to make those adjustments, not only on the field, but off the field in recruiting and your coaching staff. And clearly there's some things there that they need to change as a program.
They need to change it all. He calls plays how I play Madden. I'm not joking. I'm being so serious. Like I was in a little Madden league with some of my friends. Dude, I would quit. Swear to God. I'm talking about, it was horrible. That's how he calls them. And to your point, Craig, it's almost like when he left UCF, he thought, oh yeah, I brought my whole roster with me. And it's like,
I think that's a part of it too, though, is you look at those kind of conversations to where, you know, a scheme looks great when you have X, Y, and Z there with you. But when you leave, it's going to be a conversation of, okay, what's it going to look like? What's the formula now when X, Y, and Z is J, K, and L? Like that's not at all how it's going to pan out. That's not how it's going to work. So I think sometimes, you know, you have guys, and I've said it time and time again, you know, we revert back to the NFL pride. Me and you talked about it all the time. Matt Nagy was calling plays for Mitchell Trubisky like he had Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce out there like in KC, but that's not the situation. You have to be able to adjust your scheme to the guys that you have, not the same scheme no matter what guys you have. And that's when there's a problem.
What's up, Dustin?
Not much. You?
I don't know what that was. I don't know what that was, Dustin, but I didn't like it.
What?
What's up, man?
I'm tired, dude. I'm on late night time.
What the
fuck? I mean, he's got to be fired, right?
He's fired by midseason,
right?
Yeah, like, I would say
he has to be at this point.
I would say
he should have never been retained after last year.
Yeah, that's where I was gonna go with it. It's just like it kind of was what it was. The writing was on the walls to start the season.
And the biggest thing with him is I kind of compare him to what Luke Fickell's doing right now at Cincinnati when he was at UCF, where you're at UCF and you're such a dominant program in a mediocre conference that really has maybe one or two teams that are going to compete with you throughout the year. And yet you try to bring that style that you had at UCF into the Big Ten, knowing that it's a much more physical league, knowing that you're going to have to adjust the style that you play. And now in his 5th year, he has refused to adjust to the way his style of football is. The UCF style is not going to work in the Big Ten.
Hey, Craig, I did want to say, though, big shout out to my dog, Ryan Helinski. Everybody I was telling about, Pride knows. I put it in the chat. When did I put it in the chat, Pride? Probably like May. I was like, yo, I just met this kid, Ryan Helinski, at the Sky game. Good kid. Think he's going to be QB1 this year. No one liked my comment. No one said nothing. Oh, my dog threw over 300 yards yesterday. My dog won a title in Ireland, baby, the motherland. I don't want to hear it.
Motherland. I
don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Ryan Helinski winning the ship, winning a Heisman. Let's do it.
And I'll be honest, Dustin, real quick. I don't think he gets fired this year or in the middle of the year. Only because you might as well just ride out with him. You know, I would rather ride out and see if we can go get someone afterwards. You know, like, because the thing is, like, if you fire him mid-season, well, first of all, let's just get it out the way. Nebraska ain't doing nothing. So, and it's a kind of a mixture between
the only thing they're doing is they're winning the college football transfer portal.
That's it.
But then they have a terrible head coach that can't do anything with it.
Right. So it's a situation where, like, me personally, I'm not firing him this year. I'm gonna wait. Like, after the last game of the year, I'm looking at him and be like, you're fired, right? Like, you're gone, right? Like, I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna give you your notice because I'm gonna help you. I'll help you move your stuff. But as soon as it finishes, yeah, you're gone, kid. Like, I'm putting you gone, bro.
Sorry.
Like, I'm not even saying sorry. I'm not saying sorry to him. He owed me an apology. I'm gonna need some of that money back. 5-21. 5-21 with a straight face. Ah, man, that's rough. And Dustin said it. His coaching style, you can't bring it to the Big Ten and look at Nebraska and think, oh yeah, we'll be good. Dude, that's delusion. And Craig, you said it earlier, bro. Like, he's not going with it. He's not evolving, you know? Like, his coaching style is the same.
Look at PJ Fleck when he came to the Big Ten from Central Michigan. His first year in the Big Ten, he struggled because he tried to bring that Central Michigan style. Next year, he adjusted and look at what he's done since.
Yeah. The only thing I got to correct you on, it's Western Michigan because that's where I graduated from.
Western Michigan.
I'm just kidding.
But he tried to bring that style from like a mid-major type of conference to the Big Ten, found out within 1 year that I can't coach this way here. Next year, he was a double-digit winning coach.
Because he changed. Frankie, you're a loser. Nah, because he said him and I were supposed to play Call of Duty yesterday.
Frankie's a bot.
He NPC, bro. Because like he's NPC. Because like he told me yesterday, oh yeah, we'll play. Because I guess I don't know if y'all watch Game of Thrones, but like the new thing came out, House of the Dragon or whatever. I guess it's supposedly like 300 years before Game of Thrones, and it shows you how the people who run it got it. I don't know nothing about it. My fiance slaps me because I asked her why she needs to watch it. Like, because she was like, oh my God, 7:43 on the dot. You need to take the kids. I'm like, 7:43? Who starts a show at 7:43? Yes! Because
that's when it went live on HBO Max.
Oh, HBO Max, yeah. So, like, that's what I'm saying. She was like 7:43 on the dot. I'm like, 43? What in the world? I'm like, it's weird, man.
Weirdos.
But nah, bro. I'm upset with you, Frankie. You owe me an apology. You know who else owes an apology? Scott Frost. Because God, he is an embarrassment at this point, bro. We got to get him out of here, bro.
Yeah. So think about this. He started his first season was 4-8. Then he took a slight step forward at 5-7.
Yep.
And then we had the 2020 year. But since he hasn't had more than 5 wins, he's 15-30 lifetime at Nebraska. And that's not even considered the hard part of the Big Ten. Even if you're mediocre, you should be, if mediocre coach, you should be able to at least compete, maybe not with Wisconsin, but to get second or third in the Big Ten West. And they're not even doing that.
The thing is, 9 wins should not be out of the question.
It should not be.
Can I ask a question, though?
Go ahead, Mike.
All right, it's very early. It's very early, and I'm just asking, is Northwestern football back? And is it a conversation of maybe not we winning anything, but are they coming back to relevancy?
Well, if you look at Pat Fitzgerald's track record, you can say yes, because every year that he has a bad year, the next year they're a 7-5 type of team that rebounds, and the next year after that they're competing for a Big Ten title. That's just been his track record, where he always has one really bad year because he unloads a lot from his senior class the year before. So kind of that first year back, he's retooling, getting everybody ready, and then the next 2-3 years is when you start to see Pat Fitzgerald football. So I would say 7 wins, 8 wins for Northwestern, and a third or fourth place finish is very possible this year for him.
Which I don't think
you took the words right out of my mouth there, because that's exactly what happens. Pat Fitzgerald's a great coach, but it's very cyclical. When he gets a good group in there and they develop over 3 or 4 years, they have that year where they'll make a push to maybe make the Big Ten championship. And looking at their schedule, they've got a couple of tough games. Home against Wisconsin, home against Ohio State, at Penn State, at Iowa. But other than that, they don't have a lot of difficult opponents. So this could be a trend for Pat Fitzgerald this year. You never know.
And if we're going based on schedule too, that Iowa and I think you said Penn State, those are not in my opinion, the Ohio State game, you're taking an L. Just put an L on it and you're fine. The Penn State and Iowa, sure, they're difficult, but I expect them to at least put up a decent fight to the point where they have a legitimate chance of winning, type of thing. Right. So. And
James Franklin's been struggling, not what they expect from that type of a coach at Penn State. It's playing the Big Ten East, but yeah, to your point, Iowa's again a similar type of team where every couple years they make a big push, but it's not consistent. So you very well could have, even though those are 2 very tough stadiums to play in, Northwestern very well could go into those hostile environments and they could pull out W's.
Right. And I think a big part of it for me, and I'll leave it at this because I don't want to sound like a biased individual, but when I'm looking at it, you have this gauntlet, and it's not at the quarterback position. As much as I love Ryan, that's my guy. At the end of the day, Pride and I have talked about it about many different teams. I feel like when you have a quarterback competition, more times than not, it's kind of a scary conversation, because if something is to happen, God forbid to Ryan, or something is to happen to just where things just aren't working out, you kind of have a different sense of what your offensive identity is going to be. But their offensive identity is that run game. I mean, you had a kid in Evan Hall have 22 carries, 119 yards, and 1 touchdown. Then here comes Porter, 19 carries for 94 yards and a touchdown. And I get Nebraska is dog shit, and that's what it is. But at the end of the day, you have this gauntlet, and you have this understanding that these guys can run that rock, and they can consistently do it for a longevity amount of time. Like these kids, you can run that ball, especially. And Craig, I got mad love for you. But when you started it with Wisconsin as being an issue, I was like, nah, we're straight, strictly because they can't stop the run. And that's one of my biggest things about Wisconsin is, if you're going into it with a quarterback aspect, then I'm going to have that conversation of maybe they know the situations, maybe they understand it a little bit better. But from running the ball, they've always had problems with that. Even when they had Jonathan Taylor, they had issues with it. So I think, it's something where I look at that. Obviously, like Pride said, Ohio State. Ohio State. That's where I'll leave it with that. And then Penn State. Yeah, Ohio State. That's what we'll say. But Penn State and Iowa, I think if you go 1-1, that's pretty solid. I think, it's pretty realistic. I think that win would probably come out of, and I'll actually say it, I think that win comes out of Penn State. I think Iowa is one of those teams that a lot of people are sleeping on, and a lot of people are really not even looking at right now just because it's Iowa. But they have a great running back committee. They have a great tight end committee. And they got a nice little program going on over there. But I think Northwestern football they're on their way.
And I will say, being a Michigan fan myself, Ohio State's coming for blood for everybody this year.
Oh, yeah, they want all the smoke, bro.
They want it all.
Especially CJ being, most likely entering the draft next year.
Yep.
It's going to be, I don't – and anybody can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't really see the future in Ohio State outside of CJ right now. So I think it's do or die.
I mean, I get it.
Ryan Day's finally starting to see he's getting rid of those the Urban Meyer players are cycling out, and he's getting his own, and I think it's going to be more of a struggle for him than he's expecting.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive, man.
What a time to be alive.
This is why I'm glad I don't have a college team, bro, because imagine, bro, you know what, I'm whoever wins the championship, that's my team. I'm a Georgia boy now.
100%.
I'm a Georgia boy.
That's how I became a Clemson Tigers fan when I was like 16, 17. I was just watching Trevor Lawrence for the first time, and I was like, I had watched him in high school, but I didn't really have a team I was dedicated to. And I saw Trevor Lawrence's, sunshine type haircut, and I was like, that's my guy. That's my guy from here on out. But then, had to get away from that because DJ's just god awful, and I can't watch that anymore.
Zoinks. Frankie!
Oh no, this is when feelings are hurt and people are banned. Oh no.
Nah, Mike. What's going on, y'all?
Frankie, is there something you would like to say to me?
Yes, I came to publicly apologize to Pride for falling asleep on it yesterday.
I was by my phone the whole night waiting for this man.
Dude,
I know, bro. I felt so bad. Like, so I'm watching House of the Dragon. And it's getting late, and I switched my room around with my wife last night, or before the show started, and it took literally like 4 hours. And then once the show stopped, literally like part of me was about to get up, but like I was still sitting down, and then I woke up and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, damn, Pride's gonna be mad at me tomorrow.
All of a sudden it was 3 o'clock in the morning.
Like I didn't even know all that.
The George Lopez intros playing on the TV. Just like, oh man,
straight up.
I was like, where am I, bro?
I woke up. I'm looking at paid programs on the TV and stuff. I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, should I message Pride at 3 in the morning? Like, I don't want his wife being like, who the hell is writing you this early?
The thing is, if she would, I would be like, don't worry about it. Like, I would honestly be setting myself up.
Stop it.
I'd be messing her, be like, don't worry about it.
You would not say that. You'd be
I would. I would immediately say I'm joking right after showing the messages, but the point remains, I would in that moment say that. You owe me, Frankie. What is this little spit curl I got going on?
I got you, bro. We're gonna go after the show. We're gonna go and snipe some heads off.
All right, bet.
I was a full on, like Mike said, I was a full on bot last night.
Ooh.
Hell no.
Don't hype him up. Don't hype him up. We
don't want to get him going.
I'm reading the story right now.
I don't want him.
No. He's doing that because you're saying you don't want him because you're scared of getting heartbroken.
I'll tell you what. You know why I don't want him?
Why?
Because I have made so many friends in the minors, and they've all been on my podcast, and we're gonna have to trade every single one of them. So for the sake of Mike on the mic, I don't want him.
No, I don't think you'd have to trade all the minors.
No.
All of them.
No,
all of them.
No, you wouldn't.
Craig, take care of the show before I go crazy.
No, dude, doesn't he have like 1 or 2 more years left?
All of them.
He's a free agent after next year, so you're not gonna have to trade nearly as much to get him because of that reason.
Exactly. You're not gonna have to. Now you might have to trade 1 or 2 of them, sure, but all of them.
I'll trade all of them.
Somebody's going to trade almost their whole farm for Shohei. Like that, if he becomes available.
I don't think so, though. Oh, the only reason why I say I don't think so is just because his contract is on the verge of expiring.
Yeah.
Now, if the owner said he wanted to sell and this was 2 years ago, then you might as well just give a portion of the ownership to the Angels at that point.
Craig, sir, as host of this show, I would like to ask permission to freely speak for 5 seconds. And if I am not granted access, that's perfectly fine. But if I am, it's only PG-13. It's not that bad, I promise.
You got
Go for it.
Bro, I'll tell you what, I'll give that man number 17 right now and tell Chris Bryant to lick my nuts from the back and retire number 17 for Shohei Ohtani. That's perfectly fine.
That's not PG-13, Mike.
That's pretty PG-13 to me.
Nowadays it is.
Yeah, it's pretty decent to me. I would give that man number 17 right now. Chris Bryant can kick rocks. Go die in the Rockies organization. See, like that punt?
Well, I mean, he is performing.
You like that punt? Kick
That was
rocks.
good.
I like that one. He is doo-doo in the butt, as the children would say.
Some people call me Langston Houston, but
There's a lot more to that story too, Mike.
Okay, explain.
Shohei and Seiya share the same agent. They are also the agent for that top-ranked Japanese pitcher right now that's going to hit the market this offseason. So if Shohei goes to Chicago, he's going to lure that pitcher to Chicago with him.
I'll tell you what. Call this Tokyo Drift. I'll be that country white boy in that movie. We can do this. We can have all of Japan in here. It's going to be a beautiful thing, baby. What was that white boy's name in Fast and the Furious, Frankie?
His name was
Luke Boswell. Luke Boswell.
I'm Luke Boswell in this hoe.
Sean Boswell, not Luke.
Sean.
Look, I'll be honest.
Sean with a W.
I don't think he ends up in Chicago.
Boston. No, I'm kidding. Sorry.
No.
Got too much racial hate for anybody.
No. Wait, listen, bro. If we embrace David Ortiz, we're gonna embrace Shohei Ohtani. There's just no debate at that point.
I don't know, bro. Y'all caught some flack in recent years. I don't think anybody wants to mess with y'all.
No. Trust me. That's why I moved, bro. Listen, the fan base is as toxic as they come, bro. It's as toxic as they.
Justin made the show go off the rails, bro. This is a whole different conversation.
I will say one of the things when that news came out that the Angels were the owner is thinking about selling.
Right.
You know, all the Angels fan base like praise the universe.
The Angels praised it. Mike Trout did a backflip with his back spasms. He didn't care.
He did a backflip, caught a spasm, landed down, dislocated his shoulder. He's like, worth it. He's like, worth it.
I think the only way that Shohei gets traded is, say, hypothetically, Chicago Cubs, right? Hypothetically, he goes to the Cubs. They're going to have a record deal put in place.
Yes.
Right.
As soon as that happens. So if one happens, expect the next.
Well, if I'm not mistaken,
that was the problem the first
time. I think because Dustin, I pulled up I don't know if it's the same guy, but I pulled up a story from it. They're prepared. Like Chicago is prepared to
they're mad. I mean, shit.
When Shohei signed with the Angels, it was down to the Angels and the Cubs originally.
Right.
This isn't the first time that the Cubs have pretty much had Shohei. They just weren't willing to give Shohei the amount of years that he wanted, just because at that time there wasn't the DH in the NL and they couldn't guarantee him that he would be able to pitch and play in the field. But now that they have the DH, now it's not a problem. They're willing to give Shohei 400 plus.
It made me laugh though, because I remember Craig, we were sitting here and we were having this conversation. It's probably like 2017, 2018 about Shohei, and I followed the kid for a long time, so I was like, nah, like this needs to happen. Like I've never seen something like this. And then here comes Theo Epstein telling me, well, we don't really believe in the $400 million deal for over 10 years, so we're just gonna re-sign the core. And then flash forward a few years, the core is gone. And we're coming back on the Shohei conversation. I'm like, you should have listened to 15-year-old Mike Hughes. That's fucking nuts. But, it's not. I don't get paid to say things, so it is what it is.
I mean, the thing for me, though, is for Shohei, it really comes down to – because here's the thing. I think it's more likely he goes back to Japan than anything.
I think he can get the money for it. I think he could definitely get the money for it.
But
why?
He'll turn into Ichiro again.
Somebody offers Shohei $400 million. He's not going back to Japan because he'll never see that in Japan.
But that's the thing. Does he even care to see it in Japan? Because in Japan, he's uber marketable. So like he's basically making that money still. The only difference is instead of it, he's just getting it based on his marketability.
So here's that conversation of like you said, like with advertisements, baseball in America, as much as people want to say it's America's pastime, it's really from a marketable standpoint just falling off. You're gonna see Baker Mayfield on a Hulu commercial before Shohei Ohtani, which baffles my mind. You're gonna see guys who. No, I love. You see what I'm
Watch the
saying, though.
slander.
You see what I'm
not
saying,
make the
though.
defender.
You see what I'm saying, though. It's not like
Mike being from Chicago. You put Shohei in Chicago, he's going to get instant marketability.
I think he does, but I think there's still that conversation of what Japan does for Japanese baseball and how important it is to them. There's so much money and so much more marketing there than there is here. And that's what it is. So maybe $400 million isn't the guarantee in Japan, but how much money is he going to make off of other things there?
Right.
Yeah. And
because that's the hometown kid.
Yeah. What Mike's referring to is not necessarily just in Chicago. Like, think about this. Like, Mike Trout when he came up and he's as a generational player, most people in America didn't know much about him. And that's what he's referring to as the national marketability. And it's just not there for Major League Baseball players, unfortunately.
It is when you get a commercial, though, because Mike Trout now makes $35 million a year off of freaking body armor.
Yeah, but
100%.
But that's because of due to years and years of him, putting himself out there.
And I think that's the problem with Shohei is when you look at Shohei, we're gonna have to offer him the years and the amount of deal that he wants, despite the money. But you're looking at a guy who's 28 years old. He doesn't have time like Mike Trout did to build that resume. He's a kid who's already in his prime, and I'm not gonna sit here and say that. It's going to be short-lived, but I think, we've had this conversation. It's a different conversation, but somebody asked me if I think Shohei could be one of the greatest of all time. And I said, if he would have came into this league at the age of 21, doing what he's doing now, I think that's a conversation. But to be 28, you don't know what the next 4 years are going to look like for a guy who throws 90 plus as a starter. And then, it takes 400 plus at bats a year and plays in the outfield. Like, that's a conversation to where at some point he's going to become a normal guy. And I'm not trying to sit here and say that's happening soon, but it's a conversation to where you're not going to be able to market that 10 years from now. I promise you it's not going to go down that way.
Yeah. And and that's kind of like the awkward part about Shohei is because like Mike said, he's 28, right? He spent most of his time in Japan. So it really comes down to a situation
which is fine.
But there's a reason for that, though. If you look at how Japan baseball is, when you become a professional athlete in Japan, you're not allowed to leave Japan for at least 7 years. So even if you start playing at 18, you can't leave until you're 25.
Right, but I'm not blaming him for that.
It's not a knock or anything. It's just
the
reality of it.
Everyone says like that argument that he's 28 years old. It's like, yeah, but it's not like he's 28 on the American circuit. He's technically like a 24, 25-year-old on the American circuit. Not really,
though. But based on experience in the MLB, sure.
Yeah.
But he's still a 28-year-old who's already had
injuries. But then you got to look at too. Japan plays less games, 40 less games a year they play in Japan. So that adds up to being relatively 3 years less than what he actually has in terms of overall experience.
And how many games has he already missed?
Well, a lot because of Tommy John. But take that away, he's been healthy because they've been able to.
You can't take that away. You can't take that away because he.
That's why he stayed healthy in Japan, though, because he had the less games to pitch in. They had more time off between starts than what they have in the major leagues, and that's kind of why I think if you bring him into Chicago, they're not going to use him as a starter every 5 days. I think they use him as a starter, but I think it might be more of a 6 or a 7 day rotation for him just to preserve him as long as they can.
Why do all that when he could just go back to Japan?
Because
he already has a 7-year resume in Japan.
Because here's the thing. If I'm Ohtani, so you're going to basically play me less. I might as well go back to Japan, go back to, if I'm Ohtani, I miss home.
That kid on the Yankees just went back to Japan, didn't he?
Tanaka. Yeah.
Masahiro Tanaka. Yeah, he went back.
He went back like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
he was there, though. Like, he was low key. Yeah. He wasn't great, but, it was.
He wasn't bad either.
You could say the same for Ichiro also.
Yeah. But the one thing that I think Ohtani will wait on is I think he wants to play for a World Series. Or at least try to make the playoffs with somebody before he goes back to Japan.
So. No, you can't tell me that when he signed with the Angels.
No,
okay.
No
way.
Did anybody expect the Angels to be? Did anybody expect the Angels to be as bad as they have been the last years with the deals they've made?
Yes, because they've been doing this ever since they got Mike Trout. This isn't the first time it happened. If this was the first time it happened, all right, cool, it happened. This is what, the 100th time?
I just want one player in their top 30 of all prospects in the MLB to be to the Angels, because you can't be this bad for so long and then tell me that you don't have 5 guys in the top 100. Like that's a problem. I don't know who your drafting scouts are. I don't know who your analysis guys are.
They made
Mike,
Albert
the Detroit
Pujols.
Tigers would like a word with you.
100% they would. And I know there's still a herd about Javi too, so they can keep him.
Oh my God! I don't even want to get started about him.
Hey, dude, don't forget though, Javi's leading the team in home runs at a whopping 11.
And double up the next person.
Hey, I'm giving Javi a 1-year mulligan, just like I give everybody a 1-year mulligan that goes from one league to the other league.
You can say the same thing with Francisco Lindor. 1-year mulligan for the last 5 years.
Come on, all right, 5 years, relax. Now you're
Mike, if you look at the Cubs core that they got rid of, who was the only player in that core that got better every single year from 2016? It was Javier Baez. He was the only one that got better every single year from that World Series title.
Yeah, but you look at 1 year of good and then 1 year of bad and then 1 year of good and then
it wasn't 1 year good. It wasn't 1 year good.
He's had.
Yeah, this was pretty bad.
This was pretty bad.
2016, he was on a part-time role until the second half of the season, still finished with 14 home runs and hit like a 270.
Educate him.
2017, he had 25 home runs. 2018, he finished runner-up in the MVP voting. 2019, he was actually putting up better numbers than his MVP caliber season until he got hurt and had to miss the final weeks of the season.
He's looking all this up at Wikipedia.
I'm looking at you right now.
Clown!
No, you gotta do your research to prepare.
And then 2020 is when he had his big downfall because they took the video aspect away from him looking between at-bats as to what he did right and what he did wrong, and it's kind of been a tailspin ever since. But I'm willing to give him a mulligan going from Chicago to Detroit, much like I gave Francisco Lindor the same mulligan when he saw how much he struggled that first year with the Mets and knowing the type of hitter he always was with Cleveland.
I ain't giving him
going
nothing.
by that logic, Chris Bryant's a bum.
I mean, technically speaking.
If we're going to go by that logic, Anthony Rizzo to a trash can.
Listen, but he's winning a World Series, so I don't even care.
Who's winning a World Series? Who?
He already won a World Series.
Frankie told me so.
World Series.
Who? Who's winning another World Series?
Frankie told me so.
Pride, relax.
No, I know Anthony Rizzo won one in Chicago. He's winning another one?
He already won. Yeah, he could win another one.
Y'all like that?
Yeah, if he leaves New York.
He could win another one. Oh, you could say the same thing about your guy, Rafael Devers, right?
Oh, he not him, Xander Bogaerts, they're not winning another one until they leave. Have you seen how we've been playing lately?
The Boston Red Sox are literally like, you guys got JD Martinez and you're ruining the guy's career.
I wouldn't say that though.
JD Martinez ruined his own career.
No, Boston Red Sox did.
Sorry,
Pride. Wait, but hold on. How can you say we're ruining his career? Because you could argue that his career is kind of already set.
Catch a baseball, kid. He's a certified DH now. He ruined his own career. If we're gonna be honest,
he is certified DH, and that wasn't our fault. We tried to put him in the field. We tried. He couldn't do it. On cloudy days, he's losing the ball in the sun.
Frankie, I'm usually with you, bro. Usually it's Boston K, but I can't rock with that one.
All I'm saying is when we got him, we tried to put him in the field. My guy was losing fly balls in the sun on a cloudy day.
All I'll say is Justin Fields is better than Mac Jones, but that's irrelevant.
Settle down.
Settle that down. Calm that down.
Settle down.
That's a whole different conversation you're not ready for, Mike.
All right, so one question then. We're talking about Shohei Ohtani and how much he can make. So he's got one more year arbitration.
I'm here. I'm still here.
Oh, damn it.
Oh, Frankie's still here? Okay.
Yeah.
He's got one more year arbitration, then he's a free agent. So with Julio Rodriguez signing his potentially record deal at 470, knowing that Shohei Ohtani is still 28 years old, he's going to hit the market just before 30.
Right.
Does someone pay $500 million for Shohei?
I don't think at the age of it'll be going on to 30. I don't think someone does it.
Can I be honest?
500 mil to a player.
It'll be 10 years, $400 million with a bunch of opt-outs and a bunch of team options tied into it based on health.
I mean, yeah, but honestly, I think there are a few teams out there $500 million at him.
And they can
really do.
And they can front load the deal. They can front load the deal too if they want to, where you give them $60 million a year for the first 5 years of that deal, and then the end of that deal, you're giving him like $20 million a year.
Yeah, put the hat back on. I mean, I think there'll be a few teams that'll give him the 500 million. I really do. But the thing is, it goes back to what Dustin said.
You're right, Pride. Now tell me why it's Boston.
No, bro. We still pay Dustin Pedroia. Okay, and we just finished paying. Who was it? Manny Ramirez.
I think you just finished paying Mookie too.
No, we still paying Mookie. So
Wow.
right now we should not be focusing on none of that, bro. Because we still pay. Rumor has it we're still sending Jason Varitek a big fat check. That's the rumor going around these parts. So I'm chilling
That's
right
insane.
now. Bro, yo. Listen, it won us a ring, whoop-de-doo, but God, man, the ramifications was killing us. But I do think someone will give him a $500 million contract. I think the thing is, will he get paid the entire contract? That's really the question. Because to Dustin's point, after the 5 years, I think it's going to be 5 years, guaranteed. And then after that, it's going to be opt-outs for every year. So that way, if something happens, they have an out. Same thing, kind of like a Carlos Correa type of deal. When he went to Minnesota, and he has an opt-out for the first 2 years. So that way, he always has an out no matter what. I think the end of Shohei Ohtani is going to look like that. So I think the bigger question is, does he even get paid his entire contract? Right. That's honestly the in my opinion, I think that's the question we really got to ask. Because I think Ohtani's going to look, he's not going to sign it just because it says $400 million, or $500 million, whatever the case may be, $450. He's not going to sign that because he's going to go, okay, how do I know I'm going to get all this money? That's really his thing. How do I know I'm going to get all this money? Because if you're adding all these opt-outs, yeah, cool. 400, 500 mil sounds cute and all, but I'm not going to see any of it if by year 6,
that's why I think the contract is going to be very similar to Max Scherzer into where the early years is where you're going to make the most money. And outside of usually you have these back end deals to where, okay, later on you're going to make the most, like Jason Hayward, who's literally robbing the Chicago Cubs and all of baseball. But that's neither.
Shout out to Mike on Facebook.
Oh yeah. I had to throw that out there, but, it's a conversation to where I think, Ohtani could be making 45-50 million a year. And I think that's something right now to where, the first 4 or 5 years, I don't think anybody's going to say anything. I think everybody's going to be completely content with it. And I think it's not going to be a problem. Now, going into years 6 through 10, like Dustin's suggesting, I think that's when you're starting to see, okay, well, here, we gave you the first couple $100 million, but we're going to part ways and maybe reconstruct a deal. We're going to cut it. Then we're going to reconstruct a new deal for what your value currently sits at. Right now, the contract is going to be what you're worth right now. And then 6 years from now, it'll be, okay, now this is what we think the next 4 years could probably look like. You're not pitching the same. You're a reliever, or, you're not taking as many at-bats, or let's say you had a couple injuries. That's when you're going to start to see the difference. And I think any team's willing to do it. I really do. And, we're having that conversation about the Mets and about, I know Frankie's going to hate that. But I think, the Mets are, potentially losing Jacob deGrom at the end of the year. If Jake wants to go, we'll send him in. I would send him to Los Angeles.
I wouldn't hate that. I would love that.
Do it. Go for it. If DeGrom wants to leave and you replace him with Shohei Ohtani, who's mad?
Me.
You're
definitely.
Definitely.
I'm mad.
Super
but
mad.
honestly, you do make a solid point, and I mean, for me, it just really comes down to, because I think Ohtani's going to look at that. And this is why I think it's another reason why I personally think he's going to go to Japan. He's more likely to go to Japan, get a 5-6 year deal where they pay him whatever he wants, and then he can make his endorsements, rather than stay here, sign a 10-year deal, only to really play 4 years, 5 years of it.
And I think Dustin hit it on the head, not to cut you off with it, but Dustin hit it on the head about having shorter seasons. That longevity can keep him doing what he's doing right now. I think when you're playing 162 game seasons with a preseason added to it, we're not going to talk about the Angels, but likely with his new team potentially being a playoff team, it is a conversation.
You're looking at a 200 game regular season as opposed to 130 in Japan.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the biggest conversations right now. Now, I also want to say I do apologize to my group chat. At the beginning of the year, I said the Angels were going to be better than the Brewers, but I died on that hill because of my hate for Wisconsin. So I want to.
Well, not only that, Mike, the Angels started off on fire this year.
I was rocking with that too. At the first 13 games, bro. First 13, I was like, I told y'all so.
The first 13 games, I'm at Jason McLovin.
Anthony Rendon decided to die, and then Joe Madden decided he was just done coaching baseball, which never liked Joe. So
speaking of Anthony Rendon, in 2 years, that's going to be the worst contract in baseball.
Nope, it's still going to be Hayward. It's still going to be Hayward.
No. Is it Hayward going to be gone?
Hayward will be gone next year, but when you're looking, his contract will be the worst at the time, but Hayward's contract's still going to be worse than Rendon's by the time it's all done.
No, because at the bare minimum, y'all let go of Hayward, so y'all like the bare minimum.
Yeah, but at least Rendon produced somewhat before he got hurt. Hayward didn't even produce besides talking for 15 minutes on a rain delay.
Damn, is my hairline going? God,
yeah.
Join the
to
club,
put that
bro.
in perspective, Rendon is
Join the
making an
club.
average of $35 million right now.
right. Yeah, Rendon.
I don't even know what Hayward is.
I love
he's not in the
Rendon,
top
though,
10.
man.
No,
Rendon's
Hayward's like
Hayward.
23, 24.
When you guys talk
Jason
about
Hayward.
I'm thinking about Gordon Hayward.
Gordon Hayward.
Another man with no ankles, but that's a different conversation.
Yo, I saw it live. Whoa, that was horrible. That was
nasty.
Oh, and honestly, I almost threw up. The only time I ever threw up watching the game was watching Paul George.
Facts.
No, the guy from Louisville in the Elite Eight a couple of years
Kevin
ago.
Ware?
Yeah.
Nah,
Yeah,
Kevin Ware didn't
Kevin
get
Ware,
it.
Kevin
That was
Ware
nasty.
on Easter, right? It was
Kevin
on
Ware was
Easter.
bad.
Yeah,
That
dudes
was
on the
horrible.
sideline said they felt like a little mist of blood on them, and I was like, settle down. Whoever's making this, settle down.
I don't think Ohtani should sign that deal because realistically, we've seen baseball players sign that much of its extension, and like Pride and Dustin and Mike said, those players don't end up finishing that contract. I mean, look at the San Diego guy Tatis, who just signed that 15-year contract. Now the man's already suspended 80 games,
So disrespectful.
missing like a year and a half or basically a full year if you really look at it.
My ring.
So like.
He's
I don't
missed
think
missed more games than he's played since he signed that contract.
That's
Exactly,
insane how you just
so-
said that guy Tatis.
I don't think Ohtani should sign that deal. Like Mike said, Ohtani should look towards the future, sign with a team that can potentially get you a World Series, which what every Japan player wants is a World
didn't
Series,
say
so
that.
they can end up. You said that. You kind of said that.
No, that
you
was
kind
Dustin.
of said that.
No, that's
Dustin
why I
said it.
said I think he
Yeah,
does. I
Dustin-
don't think he goes back to Japan right away because I think he
bad.
wants to at least have
Wrong white guy.
one more run with a team that can at least get him there.
Damn it.
So yeah, I can
That's
see
the main
it.
reason why he signed with the Angels, because they had Mike Trout, because they were going to go out and get Anthony Rendon, and because everyone expected the Angels to be one of the top teams in the American League when they made these signings, and it never happened. And now that it comes back to it, I think Shohei does a little bit more research now as to who he's going to sign with, and kind of looks at everything from the top down, as in who do you have right now, who do you have to bring in, and who do you have in your farm system coming out that can help me if I come here for 10 years.
My problem with that was I heard a lot of people talking about it at the time, and Pride and I have talked about it before, where it had nothing to do with him winning a championship. He decided to go to Anaheim because of the weather and because of the conditions. He didn't want to go to the Chicago Cubs, who were number 2. The Cubs were in a far better state. They just won a championship. They literally had just won a championship the year before, and you're telling me that you weren't down to play with Rizzo, Bryant, Baez, and Lester, and Hendricks, and Arrieta, and all those guys, but you and even you, Darvish, who was becoming into the fold, but you were definitely willing to go play with Mike Trout, and let's say it's a maybe. Like there's no way, shape, or form he thought that Anaheim was going to win a championship. He did that because that was where he was most comfortable.
Well, and it was because the Angels were the only team that was willing to let him play both ways.
100%.
Cubs weren't willing to let him play both ways because that was the big deciding factor too.
Right, but that's what I'm saying
ways.
though. The championship aspect of it, I don't think was there. I don't think it ever was there.
Not only
Right, because
that, do you really think? And I'm not trying to knock the Cubs or whatever like that, But
No,
do you
go ahead,
think?
Frankie, go ahead, say something.
No.
Frankie. No, Frankie,
I
go
know,
ahead,
no.
please say
No,
something,
I'm more-
Frankie. Frankie,
no,
please, to God, say something, please.
The
The
way
guy who
Frankie
has 5 Cubs players on his roster right now, fiending for a Cubs player at every trade deadline. Please say something, Frankie, please.
No, I'm not trying to.
Let him say
Scott
it.
Efros, Gleyber
Listen.
Torres, Anthony Rizzo, Scott Efros. Let's go on. Aroldis Chapman. We can keep doing this.
Listen, relax. I'm not trying to knock
How's
your team.
Montgomery
All I
on
was
St.
gonna
Louis
say-
right now? 0.35 ERA? That's crazy.
How's Joey Gallo?
How's Frankie Montas?
Zoinks.
Zoinks,
Oh
looking as
my
good as
God.
Oakland. Zoinks. Anyways, Craig, you can go ahead and carry on with the show. Frankie's comment is not.
I'm not knocking your team.
Nah,
Damn, Mike.
I could tell by how he's talking, he was not gonna knock your team, bro. I could tell.
I'm knock your team.
When he
But if
said,
you really-
"Did
but
you
if you
really
really- but if
think?"
you
I
really
was
wanna-
like, "This is it."
But
This
if
is
you
over.
really want to go there, thank you for all those Chicago Cubs players because they swept your team early in the season. So thank you. Keep your mouth shut in the corner.
You swept a minor
So-
league team. Oh my
So,
goodness.
now,
You're 3 for
you're
13
I
since
forgot
the
you're
trade
a minor
deadline,
league.
sir.
All right.
Let's not forget Mike was crying about losing his best players during the trade
3 for
deadline, and
13
afterwards
since
he's
the
like,
trade deadline, sir.
We kept him. Oh, we still got a chance.
Listen. I'm gonna defend Mike on that because them keeping Contreras is weird. Like,
Leave it.
that
No,
is-
it's not. No, it's not weird. It's
What are you
leave
gonna
it to
get
Jed.
from him?
It's leave it to Jed Hoyer to f something up because he overvalued Contreras' worth and then panicked and couldn't do anything at the deadline.
And Mike said something. You said something like Mike. You said this earlier, right after the trade deadline. You're like, we better give Contreras a stupid fat deal then.
Yeah, I said it, and
'Cause it's
Craig,
like-
I'm sorry, I know you want to go on with the show, but I did say immediately after, I was like, there better be a contract extension in that kid's locker the next day, and there still hasn't been, and they haven't had a single conversation about it, and that's to me where it's like, I'd rather you tell him, this is it now. Like this is the end of it. We're literally having 2 last dances for Wilson Contreras in the same season. And I was at the game right before the trade deadline. Everybody said his farewells. People were crying. Nobody cared about Ian Happ, which I felt bad for. But it was something to where now we're gonna have to have that same conversation all over again in the middle of September because we still don't know what his future lies. And that's where it's like, come on, bro. That's my TED talk.
No, but I'm not. I wasn't gonna. Knock
Oh
your team,
my
Mike.
God!
This is what I was gonna say. Listen, I'm trying to be more respectful and stuff. You guys, you yelled at me and everything like that. Now you trying to come at me. I could be a full
Go
asshole.
ahead.
But listen,
Say it.
you really think that when the Cubs won the World Series and then they would have got, they would have got Ohtani, and looking at it, the Cubs ended up trading away all those people that you named that Ohtani could have teamed with. You still think Ohtani would have been still in that situation with the Cubs, or you think he would have forced a trade away? The same time that the Cubs traded all those players away.
If we're talking about 2017, which Dustin I think was the year that didn't Ohtani come in 2017 or 2018? Yeah. If the Cubs went to the NLCS and what they lacked, 1 was pitching, and 2 they lacked somebody who was a consistent bat. And this isn't me being biased. I think the Dodgers were still young in 2017, and I think the Cubs go back to back that year. Immediately following that, I think the only good players on the Cubs in 2018 are Ohtani and Javier Baez, and everybody else is just kind of like whatever. It would have ended the way it ended, but I think that's exactly what they needed. You had Jake Arrieta, who looked like crap. You had let's even go through it. We had John Lackey, who fell apart. We had Addison Russell, who decided to be Craig, again, a piece of shit human being in Addison Russell, who was abusing his family members and abusing their mentals and physically being abusive. And you have him getting cut from the team and all these other things with Miguel Montero throwing a bottle at Jake Arrieta and all this other crazy stuff. You have all that going down. I think Shohei Ohtani ends all of that. You have probably one of the craziest NLCSs against the Dodgers and the Cubs in that. And I think the Cubs probably win that in 6 or 7. So I don't know if they win a championship because Houston's a bunch of cheaters, but it's definitely a conversation where I think they would have made it to 2 chips.
Please don't say that.
So what Frankie was essentially asking, do you think if Ohtani's started at Chicago that they don't sell everyone off and they continue to try to push?
I think they still sell.
No, I don't think they sell them off because the big difference is what started the sell-off in 2017. They acquired Jose Quintana because they didn't have enough starting pitching. You bring in Shohei, you don't need to trade for a starter. So now you're not giving away Dylan Cease. Now you're not giving away Eloy, and that doesn't trickle down from 17, 18, 19 into 20. Right. Now you're keeping more of those pieces. I'm not saying they'd keep all of them. I do think Eloy would have been traded just because of the outfield logjam they have, and I think some of those other pieces would have been traded. But they don't trade away Dylan Cease. They don't trade away a lot of the pieces they have traded if they get Shohei, because Shohei would have been that void that Jose Quintana was supposed to be.
Right. But I still think they would have been ass at this point in time.
Listen, thank you for Anthony Rizzo.
I mean, I think maybe they're still bad around this time because every team, when you become like a championship team, you have that window, right?
Yeah, it's about 4 or 5 years after the window.
Right,
6
but
years.
that's the thing. Like about
Not if you're
now,
the Astros.
to be honest, about now is when they would have start selling guys.
Yeah, that's when I
And then
think
when they're
this would've
selling guys,
been-
you know who would be one of the guys they're selling?
Ohtani.
100%.
Exactly.
I think
So
it's the
it
same
would-
situation. Like I think
Yeah.
the
Right.
amount of lived time for Shohei on the Angels would be the same as the Cubs. And I
To
think
be
a big
honest,
part
yeah.
of that is just because and Dustin kind of hit on it, but I do think, Theo was going to mess it up. Theo's problem, and Pride can attest to it too, is valuing prospects. Theo will throw all of them out the door for a guy who had one great season. And that's the problem with Theo. That's always been the problem with Theo. And I think at the end of the day, they weren't going to pay Javier Baez over $400 million. They weren't going to pay KB over 400. So I think that's the conversation at the end of the day. I do think Rizzo, does probably stay if they do contend a little bit more than they did. But I think at the end of the day, they were going to mess it up no matter what.
Right. Yeah, the only thing is when the mess up takes place.
Right. I think it's just a couple years later. Yeah.
The biggest knack and the biggest problem that I have with Theo, and I think Boston fans can attest to this, and now Cubs fans, is he's going to go down as a first ballot Hall of Famer whenever his time comes to get voted in.
Sure.
The biggest issue he had was he was a mastermind when it came to building a championship roster because he knew exactly how to draft, when to sign those free agents to make your team from the borderline contender to a World Series champion. The biggest issue he had was once he won that championship, he had no idea how to sustain that same kind of success.
Dude,
And that's always going to be the biggest knock against him, where if he would have been able to sustain that championship level with the way he built it to a championship roster, he would probably have 10 World Series titles under his belt between Chicago and Boston. Because how quickly he changed those franchises around and how easy he made it look in the process. If he would have just known how to sustain a winning franchise after that, or a World Series contending franchise after that, you're looking at a GM that would have had 10 World Series rings just because of the revenues and the amount of prospects and talent he had.
Oh, but there's a big question on that you say is if. Stop
Frankie,
that.
you were 5 with the last time I won.
Stop that.
I was 5, Frankie. Don't talk to me.
So what?
I was 5.
So what?
Oh, sorry, I was 9.
And that woman in the Chicago's club standings was 103.
Who's talking?
Someday, dumb man.
Who's talking?
Exactly.
Who are you?
Who cares?
With a yes, sir, with a banger. Go ahead, Craig.
All right, last thing related to baseball, and this was breaking news from last night. The MLBPA is trying to unionize minor league baseball,
as they should.
and these are a few of the stories that came out last night. Jeff Passan put out a story on ESPN this morning, and I want to read this quote from it, and then I want to hear your guys' thoughts, especially Mike, because you work with a lot of the minor league players in Chicago. Kind of want to hear how you guys think this is going to impact the systems overall. But the quote from this is: the potential unionization of more than 5,000 minor leaguers is the latest action in years-long effort by players who won a $185 million settlement from the league in an unpaid wages class action lawsuit and have received housing from teams and increased pay in recent years. Minor league players whose compensation and benefits are not collectively bargained continue to argue for higher salaries, which for a vast majority range from about $5,000 to $14,000 annually, end quote. I think this is huge news, but it's also got huge ramifications.
Yeah. Jeez. I think
Need some water?
yeah, but I'm not a punk. I'm not a chump. I can take punishment, unlike joke franchises out there. Not saying who they are. So, wow, I didn't say nothing. I will say this. Honestly, I'm surprised it took this long. I really am, because the players have the minor leaguers have been screaming for this for 5 years now. A lot of these a lot of these minor leaguers are going on other podcasts that have a big following, and they're saying, look, I have to go pitch After that, when I'm supposed to be resting, I gotta go work my full-time job to drive back to the parking lot of the arena, so that way I can sleep and be there tomorrow. Like a lot of these stories, it's wild.
And if I'm not mistaken, Pride, they still go to, I understand they're in minor leagues and they sign deals and stuff, but they still, going to college, right? Even in their minor leagues.
Some of them are.
Some of them are, but even at that, talking with Matt Mervis the other day on my podcast, when he signed with the Cubs as an undrafted free agent, he signed for $20,000. The guy makes $465, $470 a week, and he leads minor league baseball with 100 RBIs and 27 home runs right now. He's worth way more than $400 a week.
Way more. He honestly, it like definitely way more. And that's honestly like the sad part about it all is that even though they deserve it, they themselves were not able to do anything about it. They were just like, and honestly, I hope that with a union, they'll be able to get some of the stuff. Now, I'm not saying pay them $100 million a year, but $100,000 a year, let's start somewhere.
With the AAA level, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, can we at least pay them enough they're able to have a house?
Well, that's the problem, though, because every AAA player makes a different amount of money, and it's based off of where you're drafted in the draft board. Because, like, the top prospects that are taken in the first 10 picks are going to typically get $600,000 to $800,000 a year, regardless what level they're playing in. But then you have guys that go in round 20 that are lucky to make $10,000 a year. There needs to be kind of like that set minimum salary for everybody at every level. Like, have low A be like a $40,000 minimum, have high A be like 60, have double A be like $80,000 to $100,000 minimum, and then when you get the AAA, have like the $100,000 level of the minimum.
Right, yeah. Even something like that would be nice. Just something where like these guys basically don't got to sleep in their cars.
And I think that was a point I was gonna hit on. I do know a couple guys that were on the Cubs that do currently sleep in their cars. And I'm not gonna name drop them just out of respect for that. But if you follow their stories and you know these guys and you know them for a long time, and I know one of them who's admitted to it and has publicly came out to say that to kind of get to this point to where we're at now with the MLBPA and have this conversation. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people think being a baseball player is one of the most luxurious things in the world. But I think financially, a guy could be worth $40 or $400 a week, not 40. $400 a week. That's fine to me. It is what it is. You're working a part-time job until you get to the majors, even though it's full-time, but that's just the grind. That's the hustle. The problem to me is the housing part of it, getting to place. You're not going to ask me to move all the way to, Craig, respectfully, bumblefuck Iowa if I'm from Puerto Rico and not know a lick of English, and you're expecting me to make $300 a week and I have no housing. I have to pay for my own airfare. I have to pay for all this stuff. And I look at, I work a big part in the WNBA, and a lot of them have issues with the flight travel, and a lot of them have issues with getting from A to B. And a part of that, it's a whole different conversation. But, at the end of the day, if you want to see these individuals as your professional athletes, as people who you want to be potentially the faces of your franchise, I don't want to remember the time where I had to live in a car. I think I've spoken with Brennan Davis. I've spoken with Cole Franklin, Ryan Jensen, and a lot of other guys. Certain guys get housings and they're allowed to be roommates, and they have all these specific things during training camp. Why does that stop after training camp? It shouldn't. And I think, I'm not asking you, and I'll throw out Tom Ricketts as one of them. You own a franchise of hotels. Like, you own a chain of them. Bring more into your minor league towns. Bring more that are specifically, hey, this floor, and this floor are for all of our Chicago Cubs players. It's not too much to ask. We're not asking them to have these penthouse suites, but a room somewhere to have an established place. Now, obviously, the rest of the hotel is a hotel, but let's say the top 3 floors are where your Cubs players goes to stay. That shouldn't be an issue when you own a hotel chain. That shouldn't be a conversation that one of your players is living in a car. And that to me is where there's, the pay is definitely a conversation. And I think, some of these guys making 10 to 20K a year is complete bullshit. For what they're giving up. And, if this kid tears his ACL, then okay, bye. You know what I mean? Like, good luck on wherever you are. You're in the middle of Iowa. You're from the Dominican Republic. Like, I don't I'm not going to help you get back. I'm not going to help you with this. It is what it is. Like, that to me is a part of the problem. But the biggest part to me is the housing. The biggest part to me is the transportation and really how they move about it. So to see that kind of become unionized is everything, because it's so, here's what it is, take it or leave it. And I think that should be the conversation right now is, you're looking at guys like Tatis, whether you believe in Tatis or not, whether you believe in Julio Rodriguez or not, I love it. Because out of 1 year of their experience, they're fiending these guys for $400 million, and owners are crying about it because Tatis turns out to be on roids and he turns out to be injury prone. I'm fine with it, because one guy is pissing off the front office of the San Diego Padres. How many guys are the San Diego Padres screwing over yearly? Like that's over 200.
And that's a great point. I'm glad you said that, because my devil's advocate question to you guys would be, knowing how MLB and franchise owners operate, how they try to save money. I could throw like Detroit Tigers, Chris Ilitch under the table, because he's talking about, we're going to spend money. And then, they're very frugal with their money. So knowing that, the backlash, I think potentially, and I really hope this doesn't happen. Remember when the MLB retracted and they contracted some of their minor league teams? Right. I would not be surprised if this does happen, if they counteract and go, well, because of this and all these added expenses and all that, well, we're going to contract and we're not going to have low A ball anymore. We're not going to have the complex league anymore. Like, do you guys think that could happen? I think it could, and it'd be very unfortunate.
Because they already got rid of the short season league last year, and that eliminated like 60 teams as it is. They won't get rid of the complex league, especially not the Dominican complex league, because that's how major league teams can get away with signing players for so cheap. Right. You give a 14-year-old a $15,000 contract to go play professional baseball in the Dominican Republic for 3 years. What 15-year-old is going to say? No, I'm not going to do that. It gives them an extra 3 years to stash them there, where they can develop them at their own pace before they bring them stateside. They'll never get rid of those leagues. And the ACL is mainly used as like a rehab league, or like for the draft picks that get drafted in June and July, and then they'll go there for the second half of the season. So they will never get rid of those. I could see low A being eliminated and just doing just a straight A ball, double A, and triple A instead of having the 2 A classes. But even at that, what low A teams do you get rid of? Because a lot of the low A teams in the minor league baseball bring in so much revenue for the city that they play in. What city's going to be like, hey, I don't want this team anymore? Like, being a Cubs fan like Mike, look at the Myrtle Beach Pelicans. Myrtle Beach Pelicans bring in so much revenue from March through August, March through September, when baseball goes on there, that once baseball season ends, the economy takes a huge hit down in Myrtle Beach because of it. The Pelicans aren't going to be like, oh yeah, take our team away just because you want to condense. All these other cities are going to be fighting to keep their team there. That's why I think Major League Baseball is going to have to keep it the way it is right now, with the 2 complex league levels used for like the younger kids and draft picks, and then keep it at the way it is right now.
Time out. What the hell is on your head? What is on your head?
No. Leave him. Yeah, mama. By the way, Craig, just to let you know, Rob Scott is a Golden State fan, so don't let the...
He's a Bulls fan. Don't let it be fooled, Craig.
I will say this, though. So the point that Dustin that he just said about it impacting the cities, like, I didn't know this.
Mike Hughes.
I accidentally moved to where I think it's the AAA of the Boston Red Sox. That was a complete accident. I accidentally came here. It was by accident, right? And it was so much it's so much of a hotbed of activity. They placed it in downtown. Mm-hmm. Like, that's how much it is. So if anyone's talking about we're gonna take it out, you're gonna have to put pause on somebody.
Right.
Now, I live in the 100%. South, right? I live in the South. So, yeah, they can't fight, but they got guns, right? Anyone can get it, right? They got vending machines of AR-15s just lying around, right? So, like, you're going to have to go meet somebody to take this away from them.
Right. And I think, to Craig's point, Craig made a great point, and it's this conversation that right now there are 2 teams that do this successfully. And I hate to say it being successfully, but they do it at a really good level from a front office standpoint. Is the Chicago White Sox do an amazing job of it. And actually, when you look at the Atlanta Braves, they are the key of who originated this. And the Chicago White Sox are a big part of it too. You know, they own the Chicago Bulls. They did it with Scottie Pippen. They did it with many other players that were foreign and came in. They lowball these contracts, kind of like you're saying, to these 15-year-old kids, except the Chicago White Sox and the Atlanta Braves are doing it at a much higher level. We're talking like Luis Robert, who is a 6'2" kid when healthy, is making $50 to $60 million over the next 7 to 10 years. And that's, to me, is outrageous. You're looking at Ronald Acuna Jr., whose deal is relatively cheap for what he is. You're looking at Ozzie, who's really cheap for what he is. The only real contract they've offered so far is Austin Riley. And it's one of those conversations. You know, Eloy is super cheap. Tim Anderson was super cheap. All these guys they're offering at a young age are super cheap. Where every other team is messing that up is, okay, we're going to do the same thing, except we're geniuses. We're going to offer Julio 10 years for $400 million. That's where it's like, it's defeating the purpose of what Atlanta's done. It's defeating the purpose of what, you know, you're looking at other teams like the Chicago White Sox have done. And I love seeing that, though. I love seeing that because, to me, when I look at the Atlanta Braves doing that, when I look at the Chicago White Sox doing that, they know what they're doing. And they know it's wrong. And the biggest part about it is you can name these guys down the list. Luis Robert, Yohan Moncada. You're talking about Eloy Jimenez. You're talking all these guys that are from the Dominican, from Venezuela, from Puerto Rico, from all these different places, a part of the world who, you know, their families, they'll come out and say, you know, aren't in the greatest of spots. You know, Wilson Contreras will even tell you that he sends most of his money away. The problem with that, like Pride said, $150,000 to a kid who's 15 years old. He's not going to say no to that. And that's the biggest part, because most of it goes to his family. Most of it goes to people who need it in their home country. So I like the way it's moving now. I don't care about any San Diego Padres fan saying Tatis doesn't deserve it. Good. And like I said earlier, die mad. Like I hope it hurts. I hope it burns everybody's pockets, because, you know, you're offering this kid who's raking 50 home runs a year in Eloy Jimenez when he's healthy, and he's getting $50 million a year. Not a year. At $50 million over 7 years? That's crazy to me, bro. As a DH in this league, you're getting $50 million over 7 years. It's not right.
And let me just say a couple things real quick. So first, the paying $15 million to a kid, Dustin was the one who made that point.
Dustin made that.
Make sure.
Sorry.
I just want to make sure he gets the credit for that. I want to make sure.
Right.
So two, it's the Dominican Republic. Okay.
What did I say?
You said the Dominican.
The Dominican.
Like, yo, like that is such a tourist thing to say. Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
There's a second word. That's like that. No. That's like me saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to York."
But
yeah, Pride, put Mike to put.
Craig, give me a sec. Craig, give me a sec. Pride, where are you currently located right now? Don't have to give me the town. Craig, let me have this. Pride, where are you currently located?
Not in the Dominican, obviously.
Where are you located, sir?
I'm South Carolina.
So shut the fuck up.
So
Mike coming for everyone.
Mike,
And South Carolina sucks.
Mike, what you just said into perspective. The Chicago Cubs have two Dominican Complex League teams, and they have a
complex teams.
Where are they from? The Dominican
Republic. And
The
they
Dominican.
Have a total of 104 players combined on those two teams. The total salary cap of that team is $206,000. That shows you how little those players make. And then you go to the Dominican Republic Complex League Yankees, who just won the summer championship. The Yankees have two teams in that league also. They have 104 players on their team also, and their team salary cap is $700,000. So they're paying their players 3 times more than what the Cubs Complex League is paying, and look at what the results are. You get a championship out of it when you pay more.
I would respond, but I don't want to talk anymore because I poured my heart out, and Pride told me to go fuck myself over one word. So I'm pretty upset.
Okay, yeah. Where are you from?
Where am I from? Chirac, baby.
Chirac.
Stand
Okay,
up.
yeah, bro.
Yo,
Frankie. He's from Go. He's from Go.
Mike Hughes.
He's from Go. Anyway, real quick to put this in perspective.
We're not from Go. We're from the Go. Get it right.
The Go.
Go.
Apparently, a word don't mean a difference.
You gotta go after the Boston Red Sox performance this season, but
dog.
Oh.
It's been horrible. I ain't even gonna cap.
Dog. Almost as bad as the Yankees in the second half. Dog.
Swiggity coming for that booty.
Not as bad though, but dog.
I just want to put this in perspective real quick, because every time the owners always say we can't afford it, we can't afford it, we can't afford it. I want to give you guys some specs of a building that was made.
Yo, bro, what'd you just call me?
You heard me. You heard me. Did I stutter one time?
Yo, bro, what'd you just call me?
Did I stutter one time?
What'd you call me?
You heard what you heard.
Say it again.
Oh Lord
You
Jesus!
cannot take offense when you call it the Dominican. You tourist.
Run it back. Run it back. Don't call me a tourist.
Anyway,
South
I'm gonna
Carolina.
give you guys the specs on a
Not
building.
even good enough for a
Okay.
whole fucking state. You got to share 2 of them.
Yo, I gotta blow it. But these are some of the specs of another building, right? And then I want you guys to guess how much this building costs, right? 18 miles of new wire, 2 brand new support beams from a roof weighing 12 tons each, 6 miles of steel studs in the new walls, 1,482 gallons of fresh paint, including 300 gallons of black paint, 107 LED panels for 4 displays, 395 LED base light fixtures, 46 custom 12-inch tall RGB LED bars, okay? 50 by 50 soundstage, a VIP suite, a media lounge, 4 lockers, an engineering room, a production room, 12 all-purpose room, 3 multi-purpose rooms, and 22 individual rooms. Can anyone tell me how much that would cost?
$1 billion. 1.4.
So I got 1.4. How much you think, Frankie?
I'd probably say like 2.1 bill.
2.1 bill. Dustin, are you here?
Yeah.
How much you think that building I just described would cost?
500K.
1.764 billion.
1.764
Why you
bill.
so
Okay.
much
Very
numbers?
specific.
Rob, are you here, Rob?
I'm here.
Did you
I'm
hear the
here.
building I just
He's
described?
here.
Yeah, I heard it, and you
How
might
much?
as well just buy the stadium. I'll just say that.
Just buy a stadium, correct?
Yes,
Mike,
sir.
No, you weren't here, Mike. So
Oh my
let's
God.
just say it's a big building, right? This is how much it cost.
A lot of dollars.
A little over $20 million. You telling me that an owner can't build that?
Mike was closest with 500K. Just saying.
To be honest,
Without going over.
the closest is not going over. We're doing the prices right up in here. But like 2.1 billion, 1 billion,
Oh, no,
1.7.
Frankie.
Like my guy Dustin put out the pie stuff for his guess, right?
I'm here.
It's only 20 million. So it's like you wouldn't be able to do something like that for like your guys. And again, this is something that's fancy.
No, bro, you only gave him 4 lockers.
That's it. That's
Like,
it.
you gave him 4. You said 4 lockers. You lost.
And by the way, do you guys know? Do you guys know what building this is?
Your mama.
Damn, I'm telling my mom you said that too. I'm snitching. But this is the UFC Apex in Las Vegas. The one they made that they started making in 2018.
I'm still here.
Mike's still there.
Unfortunately,
Your mama.
mommy. But like I don't know, the owners can't say at the bare minimum. Look, to Mike's point, yes, there are some
So you
guys that
think
are
Dana
only
White's
worth
cheap?
about $400
That's
a week.
Dana White, right? Dana White should be doing that then, right?
Shut up,
You
Frankie.
say UFC. You say UFC complex, right?
Dana White made that.
Wow.
He paid out of pocket
But then he still said he's never going to pay fighters any more than they make.
because the sport is still young. Not
Yeah.
hold on, Mike. Mike, to your point, you just said some guys are worth $400.
100%.
Okay, Sean O'Malley ain't worth $1 million.
Sean
No, he's
O'Malley,
not.
Sean O'Malley is a king.
Laws of what? Of what? Of
Ireland,
what?
baby.
Square tile
London,
space?
baby.
Get out of here.
Oh,
He ain't
my
worth. He ain't
God.
worth nothing, bro. Get him out of here. Okay.
Man,
Leon
Ireland is the
Edwards
talk of the show.
and Kamaru Usman, who just main evented the UFC, but that just happened. Those two guys, yes, they need to
ASAP's
get
going to be
paid.
trending in Ireland by the end of the day just because of how much we talked about Ireland today.
I'm just saying, bro.
No, I feel you. I just think it's like it's this standard to where I think, you know, Dana went about it the wrong way, and there was no right way to go about it because no matter what he said, he was going to be viewed as cheap. You know, if you said,
True.
"Oh, okay, I'm going to pay them later on down the line," you're cheap. I'm not going to pay them ever, you're cheap. Like there's no right way to go about that. The problem with the MLB is where I respect Dana, told you what it was. Said, nah, This is still new. This is still something we're doing. This is, the UFC, as much as you might love Conor McGregor, as much as not, I was right. I had to double check myself because that man be boxing half the time. So sorry, but
he boxed once.
Once.
Well, yeah, I don't know, but it's still like the peak of his career. But it's to me, it's one of these conversations to where Conor, as good as he was and how much he brought to that organization was just the beginning. And I think that's something where nobody's really grasping and nobody's understanding. These athletes are going to keep getting better. These fighters are going to keep getting crazier. You see some guys who can just take a chair to the face and they'll still come at you and kick you in your nuts. Like these guys are
could take a crowbar to the face in his prime.
Like that's who they are, though. And I think that's slowly becoming something right now to where the one thing I will say about Dana, and it goes into the MLB as well, is healthcare. I think where you can't offer $400 million contracts, I think these fighters do deserve healthcare. And I think they do deserve more than they get.
Well, here's the thing. They actually do offer them healthcare. They actually do.
It's I looked into it. It's
No.
So here's the thing.
It's like me and you healthcare.
It's worse than that.
No, it's actually not.
Depending on the organization.
Well,
I don't
know what Bellator's one championship is, but the UFC, if you get hurt in the octagon fighting for them,
the octagon,
they pay. But I mean, how else are you gonna do it?
No, I feel you, but
if you tear an ACL in the octagon, you're on the hook for it. They will not pay for it.
No, they pay for it. As long as you're doing it in a
fight. They pay for the surgery, but they don't pay for the rehab. You're on the hook to pay for the rehab if you tear your ACL in the octagon because it puts you out of action for months at a time. Well, you become a liability to them at that point.
No, they give you a because the thing is they give you a person that they send you to.
Right.
It's up to you whether you want it. Now, a lot of the guys in the fight, like a lot of these fighters, they already have certain guys that they go to. They already have a certain doctor and a certain rehab. Like Thiago Santos, when he blew his ACL, MCL, basically his entire from the knee down did not exist.
Right.
When he blew that against John Jones, the UFC offered him, and he said no. He already had people. So when you go like that, they go, okay, cool, whatever.
Now, Pride, here's my question, though, and here's a problem I had, and you brought it up. When I worked for the Cubs, if I didn't get hurt at work, then how am I going to get paid by work? Here's my problem with it. So when you're a fighter in the UFC, you're a fighter for the UFC 365 days out of the year, correct? Like you work for them. That's who you are. You're established with them. Just like in minor league baseball, whether you're playing a game or not, you are brought to you by them. You are sponsored with them. You are attached to them. Right. So if I see a UFC fighter, let's say it's not in a fight, let's say it's not in the octagon, but it's at a practice, at a spar, whatever it may be. If this kid blows out his ACL, you blew it out at work. Like that is at work. You are preparing for your fight at work, and you are getting paid by the UFC.
So that's difference is
you feel me?
Here's the difference. You don't get paid for your training camp. That's the part people forget. You get paid to show up. So that's
where I'm like, I think that's where it needs to be established. If you're training for
a
fight,
they tell you. No, they tell you.
But I tell you this though, you're a contractor.
Right.
You're a contractor. You're an independent contractor. Right. So I've worked as an independent contractor. So once you get contracted from you have to take care of that health insurance yourself. You can buy great health insurance plans and not really for what they make, they'll be A-okay.
100%. So, but that's where I'm like, when we're talking about not high school, when we're talking about minor league baseball, we're talking about kids in high school. We're talking about kids in the Dominican at 15 years old. Now, Pride, to your point, the Dominican Republic.
Thank you.
At 15 years old. It's a conversation, though, to where, I look at it for what it is. If you're on a roller coaster, Pridely, if you take the kiddos out and you go on a roller coaster and blow out your ACL because your big ass had to hit the ball, hey, all power to you. I can't pay you, bro. But if you're at the practice field, if you're in training camp, in spring training, and you blow out your ACL just because it's not a game, I do believe.
Different. But that's
you feel me though? You feel me though? You are on company time,
right? But that's the thing. You're on company time. Now, when you're a UFC fighter, you like when you're training.
You say practice. You say training isn't company time.
No, it's not because you're not training on the company
property. No, that's what I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, because you're so there are teams. So there's like alpha.
Wait, really quick. So when you say you have, I don't know how many fights a year guys usually have, but like 3 fights a year, 2-3 fights a year.
But 2 or 3.
So you work for the UFC 3 days out of the year is what
basically 3 nights out of the year when you're actually there.
Guys, I gotta
now,
go.
it's the same thing.
But those fights get you the big money, Mike. That's what.
No,
Exactly.
I definitely feel that.
And
I
on
definitely
top of
feel that.
And on top of that, you're also there when you're doing press and stuff like that. For instance, one of the Tony Ferguson versus Khabib Nurmagomedov fights that got canceled was because Tony Ferguson tripped over a wire and tore his ACL. That is a true story. That is a true story. Because it was a promo thing that they brought Tony in for, they paid for it and they took care of him. Because we brought you in, so now it's on our time. So if you get injured on their time, that's one thing. If you're in your training camp, or how Amanda Nunes does it, you're in Brazil, like Jose Aldo in Brazil, like Khabib when he goes to Dagestan, or if you're doing like what to
from
like
where?
American
From where?
Dagestan.
Hmm.
That's how you say it. Not the Dominican.
Is it Kazakhstan like Bodak?
But like like if you're if you're over there or you're in your training camp like formerly known Alpha Male, now I think they call themselves Alpha Team now, but that type of stuff, then they don't pay you because you got to take it up with your coach and whatnot. So
listen, this is why I would just go to the WWE.
You think it's worse over there, bro? They don't pay you for nothing.
It's even worse.
They don't pay you.
No, I'm going to WWE so that way.
Let me ask you, how do you feel about Hezbollah?
Put him in the ring.
Put him in the ring.
But listen, I'm gonna say this right now. Hezbollah. Okay.
Did you see him just punch Shaq in the face?
Oh my! Anyone here know any boxing at all?
Why y'all trying to kill? Why y'all trying to kill that guy? I know boxing. I know boxing. But why y'all trying to kill that man?
Hezbollah is a god.
I'm gonna put you like this. In the same night, he'll beat up Floyd. He'll beat up Roy Jones Jr. We'll put Mike Tyson in a time machine, send him back in time. He'll beat him up. He'll bring up Muhammad Ali to put him back down.
Mike Tyson will say, that's a wrap.
And matter of fact, we need an active guy. So let's throw Canelo and Shakur Stevenson. Let's throw Terrence Crawford. And let's throw Earl Spence in there.
Throw Conor in there. Throw Conor in there. UFC fight. Forget it.
Throw Conor. He couldn't check my leg. That's right. Hezbollah smash, bro.
Watch that racism.
What do you mean?
Watch that racism.
What racism?
I didn't like that accent.
Connor talks like that.
Wasn't
That's
good
how he
enough for
talks.
me.
It's not racist because it's a bad accent.
Right. Mike, hold on, Mike. You want to talk about racism? The Dominican?
Watch your tone.
Right?
Watch your tone.
Right? You couldn't even call
you know
them
why
Republic?
I called him the Dominican? Because I didn't want to specifically say it was in the Republic. What if it's a Dominican? What if it's the Democrats? What if it's a Dominican Democrats? I don't
The
know.
name of the island is the Dominican Republic.
What if they don't claim that?
But that is their name.
Are they Dominicans?
Yes.
So I claim all Dominicans.
Wait, Pride, you Dominican, right?
Yes, that's why it's triggering me.
Now I see.
So-
Now I see why.
So you know what I want you to do for me?
It's sensitive.
Pride, you know what I want you to do for me?
Go ahead, Michael.
Lay down.
No, Michael Scott. Die, man.
Hey,
All
hey,
right,
go.
I'm sick of you.
Hey, Pride, really quick. Pride. Close your eyes, bro. Close
Go
your
ahead.
eyes, bro. What do you see, bro?
Nothing. There's how many fucks I give.
That's my life without you, bro.
Oh!
That was beautiful.
That's the nicest thing I've ever heard you say.
Now die mad.
He said no, man.
Oh, man. Craig, back to you, Michael.
All right, let's turn the corner, round out the show, talk a little bit of NFL. This
Yes, Lord.
is about to go off. NFL Thursday night kicks off. So if over the next couple days, we'll review 2 different divisions and kind of talk about our thoughts there. Today, I want to go over the NFC South and the AFC South and hear your guys' predictions and what you guys think is going to happen in. We'll start with the NFC South because I think that one's pretty easy.
Right. We're starting with me?
Yes,
Whoever wants to
beautiful.
start.
Well, Pride, you should take the honors.
So,
You beautiful
I have
man.
the Falcons winning the division.
Oh, wow.
I jest. Yo, Craig was trying so nice to be unbiased. He was like, okay, all right. In his mind, he's like,
Solid.
this kid's a.
Craig's new. Craig will get there. Craig will get
But,
there.
The Falcons.
I will say this. I have Tampa Bay winning the division. However,
Right.
I do think the Saints can. I think the Saints have somewhat of a chance. I think
The
they have
real
several
question is,
good
do you
rosters.
think Baker Mayfield has a chance?
Oh,
Because
I
according
forgot Baker starting week
wait,
1. Oh, Panthers
what
undefeated.
well, you got to understand, according to Madden, the Panthers make the playoffs. I'm just saying.
I'll tell you what, Rob Scott, Baker. I don't know about the Panthers, but before Pride goes back, Baker has he has every chance because Sam Darnold's out 4 to 6 weeks. Coral just is out for the season.
For the season.
And unless the punter somehow decides to start whipping 40-yard bombs to Robbie Anderson, that's Baker's job.
I know. I'm not worried about if that's Baker's job. I'm worried about is Baker the guy who many people don't think he is.
I think it goes as far as McCaffrey allows it to go.
I mean, this is where it's going to get awkward, right? Because I think, look, the Panthers, here's the thing. The Panthers are not good. Let's just get that out the way, right?
No.
Like, they don't have a good roster. I've said it before. If Robbie Anderson is your number one receiver, good luck. I've said that before. He's their number one.
I thought DJ Moore was their number one.
Even worse.
Yeah, DJ Moore is the number one.
It's slightly better, but it's not good.
So it's even worse. It's even worse.
I like Moore.
And you have a questionable McCaffrey. Will he stay healthy? Can he stay healthy? And if he stays healthy, how long can he stay healthy?
Like, you trade for Gilmore.
No, bro, they lost Gilmore. Gilmore went to Indianapolis, bro.
He's not Indy?
Yes.
Amon!
Amon don't love us no more, bro. He don't love us no more.
Dude, he don't be on no show.
Hey, sirs, I have to correct you guys. That is Dr. Patel.
You're right, Doctor.
That's Dr. Patel.
Humblest apologies. But listen, I do think that
Tampa he's Bay from the good side of Carolina, right, Pride?
Yeah, he's from the north.
Yeah.
So he's a Yankee.
Well, that's why he golfs.
That's why he golfs. I'm about to start golfing. Just you wait. I'm gonna come up here.
You gonna break your back?
Hey, come on! I'm really about to get into golfing. Like, let's
come down to Florida. I got a course right by my house.
Craig, we'll be there, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy too because my fiance. You know what? We'll talk about that because my fiance lives in her family lives in Florida.
Oh, Myrtle?
So we go there like twice a year.
Dude, y'all ever be drunk on them? Never mind. Y'all ever be drunk on them golf carts and just like?
And he continues. He goes. Have you ever been there? Have you ever been like? Okay.
No, I had to get it out. Because
hold on.
It's a great time driving those golf carts, bro. You be faded. It's
just to get back on course. We all know Tampa Bay is winning that division, right?
Oh no, 100%. 100%.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
I think for me, I do think Tampa's winning. However, I do give the Saints a solid chance. I don't know if y'all been seeing Jameis Winston's, when they ask him, he's matured a lot, and that's a lot to do with Drew Brees.
Yeah, he has. But you don't think Alvin Kamara is a huge loss to that team?
And the only reason they know is because he won't. I don't think he gets suspended until next year.
Yeah,
because the NFL waits to suspend you
next year.
Yeah, the legality of it is still ongoing, and they think it's going to be the entire year. So if he gets suspended, that'll probably be next year. That
you know how you know it was a bad year for the league though is that Alvin Kamara did what he did, and most people don't even recognize it because of everything going on with Deshaun Watson, everything going on with the punter of the Bills, everything going on just throughout the league. Like a lot of bad shit went down this offseason. Like it was. Then the Miles Bridges thing happened right before that, and the NBA. Like it's been a rough year.
Wild, yeah.
I mean, Deshaun is kind of taking the spotlight from everybody. It's like every time you look up, it was a new case.
I don't know. That Bills punter is definitely starting to take
that
it
Bills
down.
punter is worse than Deshaun.
Well, you know what? Because it's one thing. It's one thing to get a happy ending, but when we talking about minors, now we got a problem.
It's a whole different field.
Not only that, like what he's actually accused of, it ain't just.
It's not a happy ending. That's
wild. That's wild. You know what I'm saying? And I don't understand how these athletes put themselves in that position, but that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day.
Craig, I'm sorry.
But I will say this. I think the Saints, and I like Nate is not out of pocket for thinking the Saints will take it.
So either.
Because the thing is, look, Michael Thomas is coming back. He's been looking clean. You got Jarvis Landry. Combine that with Chris Olave, who can step up and be a number 2 if any of these guys go down for a game or anything like that. They got a nice offense. They already had a respectable defense. You then go get Honey Badger to reinforce it. It's
now. Can I ask you something though, Pride?
The question comes down to that coach.
That's honestly the biggest question. If this was Sean Payton, Dare I say, I would honestly give that edge to the Saints if it was Sean Payton.
Right.
You think Michael Thomas is gonna stay healthy all year?
I think so. And even if he doesn't, you still got Chris Olave, who could be a number 2 for a few weeks if he ends up going down.
Yeah,
I want him
actually
to go
like that.
down. I
You
need
know what?
Michael Thomas to go down because I got Jarvis Landry on my fantasy.
I understand that the Saints have made some moves, and I understand that the Bucks are taking a step back with the injury to that offensive line. But adding Julio Jones, to me, I think is dynamic. And you give him Tom Brady another weapon, and we know how quick Tom Brady is with that ball. That Buccaneers offense is about to be
gonna play
legit.
over Scotty Miller now. Come on.
That's interesting.
You cannot forget about Scotty. I mean, we almost share the same name.
So, Rob, I agree with you on that. But the question with Tampa Bay, I also picked Tampa Bay to win that division. But the big question for me is that offensive line. Tom Brady always needs an offensive line, and they're starting to get banged up. He already lost 2 people, the best center and his, I think his right tackle or something like that.
Did he lose someone else too?
Yeah, he's losing.
He lost a third.
3 of them are gone. Yeah.
Look, all right,
Yeah.
3. He's losing people left and right, and
2 of them
me
don't
as a-
even have like 3 years under their belt. So
Yeah.
And me being a Patriot fan, and probably you can probably side with me on this one. When we saw Tom Brady have no offensive line, and he gets like under pressure, he is not focused, and when he's not focused, the man cannot play. And if that's gonna happen with Tampa Bay, the Saints can have a strong chance at winning the division. The Saints really can.
Yeah, and what you're saying about Tom Brady being under pressure is just like Tom Brady. If you give him 2 seconds, he's dangerous. But the thing is, when he understands, all right, they're gonna be coming at me hard. Pause. Like we all need.
Cleveland.
Pause.
They're gonna be. They're gonna be. They're gonna be.
What you got, I think what you're trying to say is that teams that have very good pass rushes are going to affect Tom Brady and his ability to get the ball to those weapons. And I think looking at their schedule, they got a lot of tough defenses they're going up against.
Yeah.
So if they can't get healthy on the offensive line, it's a very outside chance that the Saints could challenge the Buccaneers.
And now
I get that, but this is the part that you guys are forgetting about because everybody, no, it's not even just that. No, it's not even just that. Everybody knows what Tom Brady, what he's historically done when he has a great offensive line. But you also have to look at the part that Tom Brady makes everybody better. I mean, even the janitor sweeps the floor a little cleaner when Tom Brady is stepping into that locker room. So you got to understand, he's made no names household names. And I think he can do that with this Buccaneers team.
But don't get it twisted. I don't disagree with you with that, but where I have to give some pushback, and I'm a Tom Brady fanboy. Okay, my life, like if I was a Make-A-Wish kid, I would wish I could be Giselle just so I could wake up next to him. That's how much of a fanboy I am.
That much of a fan.
Okay, but you said pause on the other line. You said
right?
No, you want to know? Because I said what I said and I meant it. I said what I said and I meant it. That's why there's no pause. Matter of fact, play. Fast forward. What else? Proceed with no caution, brother. Don't tell me what I can say. Pause. All right. So,
hey, Pride, what in the haberdashery and hemoglobin is going on here?
Call me a weirdo. You can call me a weirdo all you want, but you know what you got to put in front of it? Tom Brady's. You call me Tom Brady's weirdo. You feel me? All right. Anyway,
I do want to ask though, and here's my big problem: Ronald Jones is gone, and that wasn't really a big deal to begin with. But
now it is.
Now it's a conversation. Leonard Fournette, throughout his entire career at Jacksonville, had injury issues because of a horrible offensive line. Now you're looking at an offensive line that looks worse than the one in Jacksonville, not because of obviously talent, like Pride always says. It has nothing to do with talent, everything to do with injuries and situations. You're looking at 2 guys who are your front runners. Granted, maybe they're Super Bowl champs, but they have less than 3 years under their belt in Wirf and a couple other guys. But I know I just butchered Wirf's name, but pardon me. But it's something to where when you don't have an offensive line, when Leonard Fournette needs to be kind of not handicapped, but on a pitch count, I guess you could say, in certain aspects when it comes to a bad offensive line, because he has a bad shoulder, a bad knee. Jacksonville put that boy through the loop, man. They put him through hell. So you understand. Not only that is he's aging, and a lot of people were saying he looked out of shape. He looks a lot better than he did, and that's why I didn't take that into too much consideration, because guys get into shape very quickly. I'm one of those guys. Pride tells me all the time, 1 week I'll look super jacked on steroids, the next week it's because I haven't been to the gym in 3 weeks, and I look like Pride said, like a Make-A-Wish kid. So it is what it is. It's how athletes move. But I think when you look at it, Tom not getting protection, Julio Jones on this ring chase, who produced damn near nothing with Ryan Tannehill. It's something to where, you look at it from that perspective, and that's with Derrick Henry. That was with. Let's talk about before Derrick Henry.
Just stop calling him Tannehill, please.
Thank you,
Rob. Out in the world.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, that's him.
Rob, are you saying those 3 interceptions in the playoffs weren't top tier quarterback play?
Hold on. Can I defend Tannehill?
No, you cannot. No, you cannot.
Hold on, I'm gonna tell you why. You look at 3 interceptions. I look at 3 completions, because that ball didn't hit the floor. I look at his 3 completions. You a negative man, right? I'm optimistic. I'm an optimistic guy. That's
at least he hit somebody, right? Yeah, that's
right. At least it was somebody. No, maybe it was the wrong guy, but he hit somebody.
So you mentioned Julio Jones, Rob, and I don't think he'll have an impact if they can space out his playing time.
Right.
Because last year, regardless of who's throwing the ball, what he played in the offense, he only had 31 catches, 400 yards. And looking at their depth chart, I mean, Godwin's hurt right now, so Julio could be a 2 or a 3, but I think at most he has about 600-700 yards. He's really going to be effective in the playoffs, and that's where they're going to utilize him, I think, the most.
Are you guys forgetting that Antonio Brown was practically out of the league when he went to the Buccaneers, and this man caught touchdowns in the Super Bowl?
That's different. Hold on, time out.
That's different.
That's different. Because Antonio Brown was almost out of the league, not because he's trash, but because he was making bad decisions and his reputation was taking a hit. Julio Jones is at this point. Let's just be honest.
He's just like Leonard Fournette,
washed.
Except he's older. Like that's
He's
what
washed.
33.
That's it.
But he has weapons on the other side of him. He has Chris
understand.
Brown,
Listen.
Mike Evans. Come on now.
So I understand. Listen, here's my thing with Julio Jones. I don't think Julio Jones is getting 500 yards this year. And the only reason why I don't think that is because I think he feels that Tom Brady.
Do I see another gentleman's bet?
No, Rob, you're looking at it a different way.
No. I'm just saying. You saying you don't think he'll get 500? I think he will. Do I see a bet?
You know why I don't think he's gonna
Put your money at. Put your money where your mouth is.
All right, 20. What up?
Hey, you know what?
Let's bet.
Right, I got you, B. I
listen,
turn it into a sports betting show.
But real quick, I'm gonna tell you why I don't think he's gonna get 500.
The white
I
Mamba.
think he's gonna fill the
disappear.
Rob Gronkowski.
You know what? I got him, Pride.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
I'm with you, Pride.
That's what I think. I think as soon as they get into the red zone, they're not. Mike Evans is going to get doubled because now that there's no Gronk, he's probably going to get doubled.
Really?
So now
you don't have to double Mike Evans though, because
in the red zone,
it's for me.
I think you have to.
Mike Evans is a huge vertical threat. If you just keep the safety over the top, and especially like you said in the red zone, I don't know why I'm butchering words today. I think I'm having an aneurysm. But I definitely think it's a conversation with Mike Evans to when you have Godwin gone, you can just play him straight up because you don't have to focus so much on everything else going on. Let's say Pride for the sake of argument. Trust that Godwin's gone. Trust that Scotty Miller is just a name, that people love to say. And you understand that the offensive line, they're not going to rush the ball. So you can put your strong safety on the left side. You can understand that Mike Evans doesn't have to be doubled. You can have the safety over there because the guy on the right side is Julio Jones, who's going to probably get worked by the nickel corner. Like that's what it is. When Godwin's there, it's a different conversation.
But what I'm talking about specifically in red zone.
So that's what I'm saying is like with Godwin and Gronk gone, he is the only focus. You don't have to double it. You don't have to because you can play it straight up.
Hold on. Julio Jones last year did make some of those jump throws that you still had to respect.
Absolute dog. But what happened at the end of the year?
He hurt his
Right,
ankle.
but that's what I'm saying. You're now good. Like you taking out some of his touches is going to keep him healthier for when you get in the red zone. He's going to be the number one guy you look for because at this point, when you're on defense, you got 2 jump threats.
Right.
Julio Jones is still a jump threat, and Mike Evans. Who
100%.
you taking your chances with? If I'm me,
I'm taking
my chances with Julio.
Yeah,
I'd
100%.
rather let Julio face ISO coverage because if it's Julio, he's older. Maybe he's not that strong. Maybe he's you have a better chance of him than Mike Evans, who you can argue is still in his prime.
Oh, 100%. No, Mike is of course still in his prime.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. If you would have to double him. You would almost in the red zone, you're gonna have to double him.
The thing about Mike though, and it depends where we're talking about in the red zone, like from what angle. If you're 30 yards out, definitely I would say that. But if you're literally
30 yards out
there,
is in the red zone.
no, but that's what I'm saying.
So
It's like, if you're going for the long shot in the red zone, I understand where you're coming from. But if you are
20 yards
in
is the red zone, is the red zone. Educate yourself, Michael.
But that's what I'm saying, bro. Is when you look at a guy like Mike Evans, he's not really a route runner, bro. Like, and that's the thing. So you're
But
just
he
throwing it
can
over
run
the top.
routes though.
He definitely can, but that's what I'm trying to say is one, does he have enough time, bro? Like, I don't think he's gonna have enough time to be able to make these plays. One, because he don't have an offensive line, bro. And that's one of the biggest things. I think you can play it straight up because of that. If you have a good pass rush, I don't think you got to double Mike Evans because I don't even think you're going to be able to give him that opportunity to get up there.
So your
better be in
thing
first
is
class.
because of that offensive line.
I'm
You
sitting in the
don't-
back,
you
man.
can
I ain't making
basically
money like that.
You can basically risk it
Let me
and
see
just
that
say
sexy
whatever
stewardess.
because you basically think the pass rush.
I think when you look
I
at
want some
Tom,
peanuts,
and what,
baby.
correct me because you know when that boy was born, bro. You know what hospital he was born in. But how old is he again?
Who, Tom?
Tom.
Tom Brady?
41. 41.
41.
He's 41,
So-
about to be 42.
You're looking at it from that perspective. Say you're in the red zone, you're 20 yards out, and you do not have more than 2 seconds. Now, I'll tell you what, Tom needs 1.5. Tom just needs 1.5 to get that ball out of there. But with the pressure that's going to be in his face and understanding, we cannot risk Tom Brady going down in any circumstance. Tom Brady goes down, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Like, let's be real about the situation. Like, the kid they drafted a couple years ago is not at all ready. I don't even know if he's still there.
He is.
He is. All right. He's a nice kid. He has potential to grow. And he's learning under one of the GOATs, or the GOAT. So I think, at the end of the day, though, you just don't have enough time if you're Tom, especially in a red zone type threat to get after Mike Evans. I don't think you're going to have enough time to really see the ball clearly. I don't think you're going to be able to see the path clearly because you're going to have so many guys in your face. And I think that's where Leonard Fournette needs to step up. I have not seen Leonard Fournette block a day in my life, but I think this is the season you're going to have to see it because you're going to have a lot of people in Tom's face and you have to protect that.
Real quick, before we move on. Because of all the injuries and stuff like that, this is Tom Brady's final year, right?
Oh, facts.
So I have to correct all of us. He's 45.
Yeah, he's 45. That's
what I thought, but I didn't want to be the one to say it.
I'm like, you.
To me, he's 41. That's the age I like my sugar daddies. So 41 is that mint age. So that's right.
But at
That's
45,
right. Yep.
I think this has to be his last year.
Regardless of the outcome, to be honest. But definitely because of this offensive line, he's gonna take damage. Pause. Like he's gonna get beat up. Should I say pause for that one?
Yeah, pause.
Just to be safe.
Pause. Yeah. Listen, he's gonna. So it's like he basically flirted with retirement. He cheated on me with retirement, but I forgave him because he came back.
He cheated on me with the Bucks. What you mean with retirement?
No. That was an arrangement between me and him because he was gonna leave anyway. So just so I could say I had some say in it, I let him go. In all actuality, he was gonna leave me anyway, but I just tricked myself into saying I gave him permission. In my mind, even though they're in a committed relationship, I call us a threesome.
I'll tell you what, y'all lost my respect as Patriots, and you and Frankie are still valid to me. I love y'all. But when I heard that, and Gronk confirmed that they were going to send him to Detroit, I was like, yeah, I can't mess with those boys no more. They cold-blooded.
I don't care. I don't care.
Cold-blooded.
Listen, no. See, Rob,
bro, we probably,
Rob, look here, Rob.
My man said, I'm retiring. You can't trade me.
Hold on. At that time, wasn't Megatron still playing?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Yes.
We were about to get Megatron.
Yes.
No.
We were about to get
Megatron was still there.
Megatron retired 2015.
And bro, the year before is when we tried to trade Gronk over there.
Gronk
the year
retired.
before.
Yeah,
the year Gronk retired though was 2018. 2019.
No, we tried to trade him before.
But the year we tried to
retirement.
trade him to Detroit,
Yeah, he threatened retirement, and we
was-
were like, okay, now we take it back. He retired because of the injuries.
Yeah,
because he couldn't walk.
Then I saw him break Steve Harvey Lego set on New Year's, and that vamped in 2020, and that's how I knew this year was going to be shit. But
After he was too scared to jump off that little platform, and he had like a 178-year-old man do it for him, and Vince McMahon. Once I saw that, I was like, yeah, bro. Yeah, we should have traded him to Detroit. Yeah, fuck him. Oh my God, we should have got rid of him.
Rob Scott is on an airplane. That is awesome, bro.
On the way to New York, baby.
Hey, real quick. Tell Sabrina Unescu I said, hey.
I will. You know, I've dubbed her Lady Mama.
Hey,
You heard it with Rob
ask her how her
first.
off-season going.
Hey, well, you know, because the sky goes on, baby. The sky goes on.
Skytown, baby. Skytown, check it out.
Oh, her off season's going good. How was
Not a
that
TikTok,
loss?
man.
How was that loss last night?
How was that loss last night? Are we talking about the Yankees or are we talking about the Chicago Sky? Because, both lost.
Chicago Sky.
Oh, yeah, it's all right. It's just game one, but y'all are in like game what? 115?
But didn't you swept that team in the regular season and you lost to them in the playoffs?
Yeah, just one game though. Just one game though.
All right, let's go on to the last topic here to round out the show. We're gonna move on to the AFC South, and that last year Tennessee Titans 12-5, Colts went 9-8, and then you got the Texans and the Jaguars. So Texans and the Jaguars.
The Jaguars.
It still comes down to the Colts in Tennessee. I think they're going to get significantly a little bit better. Matt Ryan.
Can Matt Ryan get it done in Indy?
No, he can't. Get out of here.
But I think he can take them to the playoffs.
He can't even bend his knees all the way.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God! Stop fucking lying! Like, come on, let's stop the cap. All right, let's stop the cap.
Bro,
Right.
you're like you just grabbed something from the ceiling. You're like,
Hey, Pride, tell him. Hey, Pride, tell him it's all about the. Oh my God.
Hey, Rob's on an airplane doing this, bro. He's about to get kicked off this shit.
Oh no!
There's your
Look, I got more. I actually got more viewers for us, baby. It's ASAP.
Secret Service right now.
There you go.
Rob, hey, yo, get this motherfucker off the plane right now. He's just laughing at his phone.
Actually, no, somebody was arguing with me. No, wait, not arguing with me, but agreeing with me. He's like, yeah, you're right. Tom Brady makes everybody better.
There you go. Tell him to watch the stream.
Yeah, but look, Ryan Tannehill, GOAT, is going to destroy the league.
Shut up.
Stop it.
He's going to destroy the league. He'll put up a whopping 20
Stop
touchdowns.
it. Derrick Henry
With
has a
Dennis.
plate in his foot.
with
Stop
who?
it.
Who's he throwing it to?
Well, okay, look.
No, hold up, Todd. I got you. Tag team. Wait. Tag me in.
Bang. Oh, hold on. No, wrong way there.
Other way, there you go.
Epic fail.
But listen, bro.
You guys like you missed the fusion.
Listen, bro. We didn't say education was our strong suit, but I'll tell
Oh,
you
God.
what. Traylon Burks out of Arkansas, dog. Better than AJ Brown. Dog. More consistent. Better. I don't care. Offensive Rookie of the Year with Tanago. I don't give a fuck. He's
See,
coming.
now that is what I should be saying.
Wait
That is
a
how I should be coming across.
Traylon Burks is that dude. Anybody that thinks so and doesn't think this kid's a dog, this kid is built like
Hey, man.
DK and moves like Debo.
Boom.
You know,
All right, he
looking
tagged
at
me in.
that.
I do not
Kid
share the same
is
thoughts and
done.
sentiments as Mike Hughes, so I'm
I was gonna say
who.
if he's gonna be a dog, why nobody draft him in fantasy?
Now let me ask, I drafted him in fantasy, bitch. First
Oh,
of all,
so because you're right. I just see a 0.1.
Yo, Craig, welcome to the morning show, by the way.
Yeah.
Craig, welcome to the
This is
morning
fantastic.
show.
It's
Anyway,
everything I wish for and
that's
more.
what I
Right,
was
probably he
saying.
had a 0.1 and Michael
Hey,
got
Frankie,
0.1.
let me tell you something, bro. Let me break it down for you, bro. Who knew Justin Jefferson in fantasy? Who cared to draft Justin Jefferson in his first year? Who cared to draft Jamar Chase? And I quote, and I remember Frankie being one of those people who were shitting on him, saying that he can't see the ball. He can't tell the difference. Pride was not one of those people.
I drafted him, and he carried me to a
He
win
won
in
me
the
a
entire thing.
championship. Him and
He won me a
Waddle.
championship.
What I'm just saying is, though, the way that you said that B word was aggressive.
Hell yeah, because he's a bitch. That's
But
what
listen,
I'm saying.
Lord
listen,
Jesus.
Frankie, I'm telling you right now, I won a fantasy championship last year with Jalen Waddle and Jamar Chase dropping 40 and 50 plus a week. I'll tell you who my running backs were. James Conner and Rashad Penny. Bitch, respect him. I say it again.
You're forgetting something. You were in a fantasy league with 12-year-olds.
Hey, I'm gonna get a call from Jay Ness following this call, and I'm gonna have a conversation with him about how I said the B word 4 times. I only did 3 so far, but I got one more. That Treylon Burks is a dog. A dog. You gonna sit here and respect him? Malik Willis is dog shit too, Damien. I don't want to hear that. Malik Willis is god awful. He can't throw the ball. But I tell you what, bro, I can't name receivers 2, 3, and 4. Treylon Burks.
They got Robert Woods.
Craig, carry on.
I was about to say, listen, real quick. Malik Willis is taken over by week 2. Damien, count to 2 first. Maybe I'll take you legit. So go over to your corner. Anyway, he has 3. Go ahead.
Right, that's the same guy who talks shit about Trubisky, but yet drafted him in fantasy.
Bozo alert. Fortnite kid. Like, come on, do better. Anyway, as I was saying,
respect me.
Make-A-Wish kid never got granted.
Bro, Jay, Craig, I don't know why, Craig. I want to keep calling you James for some reason. I don't know why. Craig, have you seen the video of Damien?
I have not.
Oh, brother, keep your inbox open, brother.
Oh, Lord
Okay,
Jesus.
I'll be waiting for it.
I love
DM it to me.
I got you. Listen, the Titans, their wide receiver core is not bad, right? Granted, it's gonna be rocky because Treylon Burks, we don't really know, right? 1 minute he needs an asthma pump. Next thing you know, this dude is giving other dudes asthma pumps. We don't know what we're gonna get from him, bro.
Pause.
Right? So I said what I said, and I meant it. And then,
Hey guys, it's been a great show, man. Hey Mike, I'm jumping on later. I told you like around 2, 3 our time. I'm jumping on your show, man. Thanks for having me back on the morning show. Well, guys, man, we about to take off, man. Frankie the Yankee, bro.
Be safe, Rob.
Hey,
be safe, bro.
Craig, nice to meet you, bro. Let's get it.
Hey, let's get it, Rob. Have a safe flight.
Hey, thank y'all, man.
Yes, sir. But I do got the Titans because Treylon Burks and Robert Woods. I think they'll be solid, right? My concern with Robert Woods is him coming off of that.
Is it week 1 though? Is he starting week 1?
Robert Woods?
Should.
Yeah.
Yes.
He should.
I didn't know the timetable.
I think he's good, but it's just they're kind of from the beginning they're gonna give him like a
because
play
it was
count.
like it was before the playoffs, right? Yeah, because that's why they brought in OBJ, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So
yeah, he's straight.
Yeah, so he'll be good. So, but they just want to give him a play count just to be on the safe side. They have Austin Hooper, who I'm not gonna say he's a bum.
I thought he was still with the Browns, bro. Honestly,
no, he left. No, he was.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's a good pickup for the Titans because he is a dog. Austin Hooper.
I like him. Yeah, I like him. And then you got them, and you still got Derrick Henry, and then you got obviously the best quarterback in the NFL and arguably the greatest of all time, Ryan Tannehill. So, like, you know what I mean? Like the old saying goes, right? When you're the best quarterback of all time, they don't call you the GOAT. They don't call you that. They call you Ryan Tannehill. That's what they call you when you're the best of all time, right? So I was joking before anyone thinks that's my legitimate take. Let me stop.
Flip it.
But I think Ryan Tannehill can do enough to kind of guide them there. And plus, you only got to beat the Colts because the Jags and Texans.
I'll tell you what, though.
I think the Jags take a bit of a step forward, but the Texans are the Texans.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, Craig.
Yeah, I was gonna say, probably don't sleep on the Texans the Jaguars because the Jaguars was the first team to beat the Bills last year in the regular season.
Hold on. So you said don't sleep on them?
Who else did they beat?
Because they stopped they beat the Indianapolis Colts at the end to stop them from going to the playoffs.
Oh, so the Colts. So they beat the Colts. Did they beat the Titans?
I'm pretty sure.
By the way, I just want to let you know.
Yeah, they did beat the Titans because I got a Titan fan that I go to the bar with, and he was upset when the.
Oh, he told me don't sleep on them, so I'm in a coma.
This show is childish.
Care.
Where'd you throw that? You know
I threw it over my thing.
He threw it across the room.
Your wife
I'm sick of the disrespect.
Go pick that shit up. But
his son is running to him crying right now.
Bro,
they're in daycare. Lick my toe fungus, bro. Let's get it. I got the house to myself.
Whip it out.
Craig, on a real note, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to say it with a straight face. I truly believe it. I think the Texans are going to be a lot better than people think. And I think a part of that is Lovie Smith. I think Lovie Smith is going to get blackballed at the end of the year and they're going to fire him, but I think he could lead them to a wild card. I truly believe that. I'm not sitting here. I'm not saying it's going to be great.
A hot take.
I'm not saying it's going to be pretty. But I do believe with Lovie Smith being as good as a head coach as he was in Chicago, doing what he did in Illinois as a head coach there, and kind of made them Urbana football relevant for the first time in a little bit of time. They didn't really do anything, but they were a little relevant. And with the amount of people that actually go there as D1 talents, it's slim to none. So I can't even be mad at him. But he made that defense great there. He's made defenses better no matter where he goes. And last year he was the defensive coordinator. So there's no change. Nobody needs to buy in. He's already been there. He's already a part of it. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be exciting. I think at the end of the day, a big part of it is just going to be what they want to do with the ball. And I think they're going to run it by committee. And I think that's what they're going to do. They have Marlon Mack. And Pride and I, you speak about it. Marlon Mack's decent.
He's not bad.
He's not bad.
He's not bad.
Let's be real. He lost his job to Jonathan Taylor. Hey, you're going to have to die mad if you upset about that.
I was about to say, ain't no shame in that.
Like, ain't no shame in it, baby. Like, it's literally, what's that kid's name on Tampa that they drafted? The quarterback, the rookie?
I don't know his name.
Kyle Trask. Why aren't you playing? Tom
Trash.
Brady's
He
funny.
said trash.
He did.
Trash.
He
It
called
is
him
trash.
With a
But-
K.
It is what
Here's
it say.
the one thing, like, I'm not gonna argue about the running back room because I think Mac is gonna emerge as the number one. But look at the quarterback room. You got Davis Mills, Kyle Allen, and Jeff Driscoll.
Dog. What
You
about
think
Davis
those
Mills?
guys are gonna win you a division?
I didn't say we
No, he's that wild card, which I think is even crazier. I think
that's pretty
crazier.
wild.
I think when you
David
look at
Mills
what
was
it
pretty
is,
interesting last year.
I think they're gonna sneak
Yeah, the only
in.
thing interesting about him is his forehead.
I think they're gonna sneak in, bro.
So was Peyton Manning's.
So
Listen,
if the
That's
Texans
insane.
sneak in, who gets knocked out? Like, who's not gonna make it? Because they got to take
Pride.
somebody's spot.
Pride.
That's gonna
Don't
be
piss
that'll
me
be
off.
insane.
Don't
Pride.
trigger
I'm
me.
gonna
Insane.
leave for a sec.
Don't.
Nah, don't even say it. Don't even say it, Mike. Don't even say it. Mike, don't say
Listen,
it.
bro. I think the
Mike,
Titans take a
don't-
step back, truly. And I love Treylon Burks. I still think he's gonna be that dog. But I don't like that. And it has nothing to do with Ryan. It has nothing to do with Ryan. So Pride, I'm gonna leave Ryan alone, okay? Pride, I'm gonna leave Ryan alone. I'm not gonna talk about it. I think that defense took a huge step back. I really do. And I don't think they are who people thought they were. I think a lot of people thought they were
let him off the
emerging.
hook. They let him off the hook.
I think they were emerging as this defense that was going to be top 10, top 5. And I think right now they're sitting probably 17, 15, somewhere along there. I don't think they're a good defense. I don't think they're going to be competent enough. And I think Derrick Henry has a plate in his foot, and we'll see how far that goes. So I'm not going to throw him. I'm not going to throw him in there with Christian McCaffrey.
To be fair, he's always played with a plate because he's been eating the league. So another plate won't be nothing for him, bro. It's just more for him to eat.
All right, Zeke, get out of here.
So, but he's only played 8 games. But I'm gonna shameless plug. I would not be surprised if Hassan Haskins emerges as like the number 2 guy. When Derrick Henry goes down at some point this year.
Right. And I think a big part of it is, I love Henry. I'm not going to sit here and say King Henry's day of age is over. Yeah, I think it's far from
Not
that.
yet.
Do you just think this year is going to be like a setback just because of him coming off the injury? It's going to be some rust.
29 years old, you don't have that youth where you can just be like, all right, fuck it. Like, I'm going to use my athleticism and we're going to pull through this thing. Like, no, you actually do have to maintain this injury and you do have to fix this and you have to do it about the right way. You can't just sit here and like Jonathan Taylor could or a young Christian McCaffrey could, to where it's that conversation. Let me not even say that, because
we say young Christian McCaffrey and he's not even old.
Dude, he's like 25. But I'm talking about 15-year-old Christian McCaffrey, because that's the last time that boy was actually relevant to being healthy. But I think, Craig, to sum it up, I think it's going to be that conversation where you look at it and you're going to acknowledge, like, I think Mike, to me, before I even get rid of Ryan Tannehill and give Malik Willis an opportunity, who's willing to run into a linebacker, who's running into the mic full steam instead of hitting an open Treylon Burks, idiot. But
by the way, before you go, I can't remember what I think it was the guard.
Everybody's open, bro.
No, the guard points out. And you hear it over the mic, Mike. Like he says it mad loud that they pick it up over the mics.
Bro,
and
I felt like I was
Willis,
in the fucking room. He said Mike so many times. Like, it was
Malik Willis looks over to where he's pointing, and almost like he nods, takes a snap, and goes, "I want a hug." Like
the man thinks he's Lamar Jackson. He's not, and that's the problem. So to me, when I look at it like that, I think Tannehill's fine. He's not going to lose his job anytime soon, but Mike should, and I think that's what's going to hold them back. I think as much as I love him and as much as I love, this guy doing wind sprints before anybody else on the team gets out there as a head coach, that's a lot of fun. But at the end of the day, you're going to be running all the way home after they fire his ass because I think the Texans sneak in.
That's smoking herbs, bro.
That's smoking all that shit.
That's a hot take.
So who takes
I got
the
a live
AFC
stream
South
later today, so I have to namaste.
Yeah, but Mike, who you got taking the AFC South? Because I don't think you ever said it.
Colts, 100%. 100% Colts. Sorry.
Craig, please be the light of common sense here, brother. Come on.
Jonathan Taylor.
I honestly think this race is going to be a little bit closer than it was last year.
Yeah.
But I would take a slight edge for the Titans out of other teams, but I don't think the Colts are that far behind. I really don't.
Yeah, no, they're not that far. They're very far. I'm with you there. Yeah. Yeah, they're not that far. They're just very far.
Hey, Pride, can I ask you something?
Oh, man. Go ahead.
Let's not talk about the draft, baby. Let's talk about moves in free agency. What do they do?
Congratulations. You went from Carson Wentz. You literally went from Carson Wentz.
No. Titans, baby.
If that is not the biggest step to the side ever, I don't know what is, bro.
Are you kidding?
I'm 1,000. You're right. I'm disrespectful. You took a step back.
Matt Ryan, a step back?
2? Am I being too nice to Matt Ryan?
Matt Ryan is not a step back, bro.
Bro, then what? 3, 2,
So,
4, 6.
Matt Ryan.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Go ahead. All right. He won an MVP 8 years ago.
No, I don't care about that.
Russell Westbrook fanboy.
Yeah, and you know what? Mitchell Trubisky was a Pro Bowler at some point. I could give a fuck. Like, it is what it is. But, Pride, I'm going to ask you, what do you think right now? Look at me in my face. Hands up. Go like that. But keep him there.
Why?
What do you think Matt Ryan's stat line was last year?
Last year?
Yeah, what do you think it is? Look at Craig searching. No, hands up.
I think he threw a little over 4,000 yards.
Mm-hmm.
His completion percentage was 63, I would say. 63-ish. 64. 69. Giggity.
I had a QB rating of 90, bro.
We're not talking about QB rating. I'm talking about his completion percentage.
I'm talking to you right now. As a man, name the wide receivers he was throwing to last year.
Calvin Ridley, I think, was still there.
Where?
I think so. Wasn't he there last year?
No.
He did no. That's when he went on his
My boy was sad. Now he's a gambler. He's got issues.
You're so shady for that one. He had Kyle Pitts.
What about
a
rookie tight end?
Do not say what about him because he was torching the league, bro.
No, I'll tell you what. This kid's gonna be one of the greatest generational talents.
He was still torching defenses, bro.
100%. Had 1 touchdown on the year. With that being said,
and why was that?
I'll tell you what.
Because Matt Ryan was going 3 and out every other time I looked at the screen.
They doubled that, man. But I'll tell you what. 67% completions, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. You're looking at a guy right now. It was right under 4,000. To your point, right under 3,900 something. It was close. But when you're looking at that with literally nothing, and Pride, this is your favorite conversation because I know you love the Falcons. Please name the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons right now. Offer it.
Right now?
From last year.
It was what was that? It was the what?
Who was it? Can you not name him? Me fucking neither. That's the biggest problem right now. The Atlanta Falcons were a joke, and Matt Ryan had great numbers. Matt Ryan had more
great numbers
for what the team was. Bro, I'm telling you right now, Matt Ryan on the Falcons had more yards than any of the 3 Chicago Bears quarterbacks last year. Foles, Dalton,
because you guys were trash. Because your quarterbacks are trash.
But that's what I'm telling you, bro. Is like this kid is solid.
Congratulations. Hold on, no timeout.
So
congratulations. You compared him to trash, and he looks better. What they do? He's recyclables. I still bring him to the front of my house, and the trash men still come and get him. But at the end of the day, he's still not worth it.
What I'm telling you, great offensive line. You have Quentin Nelson. You have Jonathan Taylor. You have Michael Pittman. You have all these other dogs on there. You have a great offensive scheme and probably one of the best defenses that are going to be a sleeper this year. You add Gilmore. You add all these that I didn't even know. Shout out to Pride for actually acknowledging me with that. But it's a conversation to where this defense is going to look great. They're going to run the ball with Jonathan Taylor. Just like with Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill is not going to have to take that spotlight the same way Matt Ryan's not going to have to take that spotlight. You have Michael Pittman who can still be there and shine. You have a couple other decent guys.
No, he can't.
You don't like
listen.
if
I
Matt
understand
Ryan,
people like Michael Pittman, but we got to stop acting like he's still that dude when they still want Ty to be the number one. That's why they brought him back.
Michael Pittman to me, bro, is a poor man's Mike Evans, and that's how
Poor man's poverty,
still solid.
poverty.
It's
poverty,
still solid.
Poverty, benefit. I need help from the government type of poverty, bro.
Oh,
if Matt Ryan can put up similar numbers this coming year with the Colts that he did last year with the Falcons, with that offense, Indy will be dangerous.
No, they won't. So basically, you want him to do what Carson Wentz did last year.
Here's the problem with Carson, and you let me know where I'm wrong or where I'm being biased.
You're wrong.
Let me know. Did this kid not just throw random fucking picks?
Not
random
last
picks
year.
in big game situations.
Not last year. No, not last. Listen, that was the knock before last year. And before last year, yes, I agree. There were times where he tried to stretch the play out, and he would just say, like what Joe Burrow said about Jamar Chase, fuck it, he's down there. And he would do that a lot. And yes, I'm with you. He did do that a lot.
Now, last year, what was it, 7 interceptions? It was a pretty good year. It was a pretty good year for Wentz. I'm not going to say. I wasn't one of those guys that was like, I didn't really get why they had him taken off the team. But what I did understand was I felt like, and pride, it's damned if I do, damned if I don't. With Carson Wentz, I feel like anything that man does, that you're going to find, somebody's going to find something. Not you, but somebody's going to find something. But here's what I felt about it. And here's my problem with Carson. And please let me know where I'm out of pocket. Last year specifically, the interceptions went down a lot, but the sacks went up a lot. And you have a great offensive line, but why did the sacks go up a lot? Is because he was holding the ball, bro. You're holding the ball too long.
Hold on, the sacks didn't go up though.
They did for what it was.
No, they were only the second highest his entire career.
But that's what I'm saying is like you have a great offensive line. Those Eagles offensive lines were dog shit.
Last year, his final year in Philly, he got sacked 50 times.
That's what I'm saying though.
And last year just got sacked
your
32
runner-up,
times.
bro. This is your runner-up, and I'm like,
not. No, it's not, because his last year in Philly was 50. The year before that was 37.
So let me ask you this. If
This
Carson
is the
Wentz
second highest he's been sacked, and it's not his fault.
If Carson Wentz is QB1, do you have them winning the division?
Who?
The Colts.
Yes.
Bonkers.
110%.
Bonkers.
110%. With everything that the Titans just lost, with everything they just lost,
right?
If Carson Wentz year 2 has a better familiarity with the system, has more confidence in Jonathan Taylor, all that stuff, dare I say they win the division by 3 games. By 3 games easily.
So can I ask you this? And Craig, this is where I'll leave it. How many more touchdowns did Carson Wentz have than Matt Ryan, who had 0 weapons last year outside of Cordell Patterson?
How many touchdowns did Matt Ryan have?
20.
7.
20.
Because Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz had 27.
Okay,
so he had 7 more.
So you're telling me
that's sizable. Stop it. Stop it. That's sizable.
You only had 20. You only had 7 more.
First of all, again, let me poke. I'm gonna poke some holes in your blatant theory because 7 touchdowns is still a large size. That's a large size. So
and he threw less yards, bro.
So it's a run-first team. It's a run-first team. Since what, week 2? Oh, I'm sorry, week 3 or week 4, they were sucking the mess out of Jonathan Taylor.
As they should.
Okay, then. So you can't knock him for not having the yards when they're riding Jonathan Taylor, who at the time was running the ball like the best running back in the league. In the league. Let's be honest. I'll put it to you this way. Then after that, Craig, you can end it. You get a prime AP, prime Adrian Peterson. You pop him in Green Bay. Are they throwing or running the ball more? Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Go ahead, Craig. Take it away.
Go ahead, Craig. We'll see.
All right. We'll wrap up. We're going to wrap up the show. And so you guys picked Indy and Tennessee as your division
I got
winners?
Tennessee. Yes, sir.
Tennessee? Okay.
Who do you
All
got,
right. Tomorrow
Craig?
we're going to cover 2 other divisions.
Craig,
we'll talk about some of the latest that's going on in the sports
Craig,
world.
Who you got? Hold on, Craig. Who do you have winning this division? Oh no, he's at Tennessee by a slight margin.
I picked Tennessee by a close margin. Yes. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the Colts, coming off a 9-win season, make more of a challenge in the step back. But like I said, I think it's going to be a lot closer race than people think.
See, Craig's
Tennessee
new.
by a
Craig's just new, so he's trying to favor both of us right now. The disrespect's going to come, and I can't wait to see that version of Craig. It's going to be exciting.
It'll come with time.
100%.
All right. Before we sign off, you guys you guys go ahead and want to plug your where everybody can find you guys on the ASAP network.
Hell nah. I want to plug where they can find Craig. Craig does amazing things. Everybody who's here knows me. That we know Pride, Prideful Takes, Mike on the mic, Skytown, whatever it is, don't matter. Where could we find Craig Campbell, ladies and gentlemen? Because this man right here was a diamond in the rough. ASAP needed him desperately bad. We needed somebody here to hold it down while Pride and I just yell at each other. Super excited to have Craig here. Thank you for having me on the show, bro. Craig, plug yourself, baby.
Well, appreciate it, Mike. I'm happy to be a part of the ASAP network, but you can find me on Twitter at CJCampbell30. You can see it on the screen there. Also a writer for Overtime Heroics, and as well as I've got a few other. I do a Sunday show here on the ASAP network, the weekly wrap up with Shane, Sunday at 7:15. So looking forward to being here on the morning show with you guys every morning, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. So you can find that. But in order to watch the morning show, you've got to make sure you're following ASAP Network. And if you're watching right now, make sure you like, subscribe, follow, and hit the share button. Helps us out every time we come on air. You can find us on All Sports All Plays on Facebook, on Twitter at ASAP Network 1, and on YouTube. Search ASAP Sports Network. Later on today, we've got the afternoon blitz coming up Monday through Friday at 1 o'clock here on ASAP. And Easy Money is on at 3 p.m. also on the ASAP network. For Mike and Pride, I'm Craig. Y'all have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.
I hate you, Pride. I hate you, Pride. I hate you, Pride.
He said, I hate you. I hate you.
All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we're making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.